Hey, what's up guys? It's Kevin from Get a Life Podcast Kunai. And as usual, I'm joined by our lovely co-hosts, Bish.
Hello guys.
And Joe the Bro.
It's so hot.
Yeah, you guys are like melting your own skins and I'm just here like, nah, I've got my AC turned on. It's only 20 degrees here in Canada. I have to warn you guys right now, including our viewers, you have to crank that fan up to 11 because we're covering some hot topics today. Because guys, today we're covering Haganai Season 2, alright? It's gonna get heated, alright? Expecting some spicy conversations, alright? And oh my, it's been a while since we did a Season 2, hasn't it?
It is, yeah. The last Season 2 we did was for free. So this is our second Season 2, believe it or not.
Yeah.
That was like maybe three years ago? Maybe 2 years ago? It was a long time ago.
It's been 84 years.
It's been 84 years.
Now it's time to get our dicks out for Haganai Season 2.
I know, it's insane. Like, last time that we recorded a Season 2, that was for free, right?
Yeah.
So we are shit-talking about, you know,
Nagisa
free with Tyson. Joe wasn't even here yet, you know? It's like, so much has changed since then. But I'm glad Season 2 this time is Haganai, alright? Because it...
I actually held Tyson hostage. He was supposed to be on this episode, but I took his place.
Maybe.
So I'm going to be representing him.
You're representing Tyson. That's quite funny.
Well, I mean, someone's gotta take up the mantle, you know? Like, just because Tyson isn't here, I mean, doesn't mean that no one's going to be shit-talking Yozora, right? Somebody's got to do it. Anyways, don't worry. We'll be shit-talking Yozora on your behalf. But before we can get into the discussion any further, as always, Bish.
For you new folks, Get Life Podcast Kunai is a monthly anime discussion podcast under the Get Life group. Due to the nature of discussion, we can't avoid spoilers of the shows to be discussed. For the shows that are based off an existing piece of work, whether it's manga, light novel, or other sort of media form, we're not going to cover the source material for them. We can be found on Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Play. If you'd like to recommend a show for us to watch so we can make an episode of Kunai of, send us your suggestion at Twitter at GALP Kunai, or by visiting our brand new website, getlifepodcast.com/contact. And we only ask that you suggest shows that have, at most, 30 episodes. And if you like our content, you can support us by checking out our sponsors Loot Crate and Crunchyroll. So remember, you can go to lootcrate.com/kunai. Each month you get yourself some awesome anime merch. It's random, there's themes every month, and you get t-shirts, manga, exclusive anime merch, and you can get yourself 10% off if you apply the code kunai at checkout and use our link lootcrate.com/kunai. And you know what, if you want to watch anime and keep up to date with what we watch for Kunai, you can support us by signing up for a 14-day free trial of Crunchyroll Premium for everything anime. Crunchyroll.com/kunai.
Thank you, Bish. We'll get right into the thick of it with our first impressions, as always. So, would anyone want to share with me their first impressions of the second season of Haganai?
Remember, when I first watched Haganai, it was about 2012, so it's probably about 5 years ago. And I watched season 2 straight away. For me, it was more of like, I wanted to know what happened after season 1, so I jumped on season 2 straight away. During my first kind of watch of it, it felt more of the same. It felt very comfortable. It felt like, you know, this is going back to this group of friends that I know, right? Going back to the neighbors club, going back into that environment and things like that. That's what it felt like to me. It just felt like a continuation of the same sort of Haganai that we know and love. But obviously it's not that, and we'll talk about that kind of later on. But that's really my first impressions, I would say.
Well, I mean, it's very interesting that you say, you know, it's more of the same, right? Because I had the exact same impression in mind, actually. And in no way is, you know, more of the same a bad thing, because the first season of Haganai was superb, right? So I found that right from the get-go in episode 1, you know, the light, funny Haganai vibes that we know so well from the first season immediately come into play, right? You know, the way that Sena is introduced, you know, the fact that Yozora is still recognizably and undeniably a bitch, you know, it pulls you in if you're a fan of the first season.
It's true, but
right?
at the same time, it doesn't alienate you towards the second season.
No.
The reason that is because you can jump, I suggest you don't do this, but you can jump straight into season 2 without seeing season 1, because the anime portrays it in such a way, and this is something I've noticed within the first episodes.
Well, I wouldn't say that, because as you get through season 2, you like they start referencing like
that's true. Although they do kind of, when you're first introduced to a certain character within season 2, they have this kind of infographic that comes up with their names and saying,
well, no, not their name. I meant like for example, it's like, oh, Yozora and Kodaka are like older friends. It's like you wouldn't know that if you went to season 2 blind.
That's true, but they do kind of mention it within, and they have those flashbacks, so that you can, like, that's why I said I don't suggest someone doing it, but you can do it if you really wanted to.
Possible, but you really shouldn't. I mean, think about it. Just go back to season 1, watch it, listen to our Haganai episode, and then get back to us if you haven't watched season 1 yet, right? Because it's not absolutely necessary, but you enjoy the joke so much more.
Of course.
If you understand the references.
You hear me call Yozora some very suggestive
And
names.
you can hear Titan saying some very suggestive things about Yozora, which I'm not happy about.
In the bad type. I mean, it's just, for the first episode, I don't mind that it's so familiar, right? Because later on, it doesn't stay static and stale, right? It changes later on, but for the first episode, it really welcomes you.
And I think it's doing that to kind of ease people in to what's coming on later on, by giving them something familiar and then flipping it around.
Exactly. Joe, what do you think?
Well, like, unlike you guys, like, I didn't jump right into season 2. I kind of like watched season 1, I waited a bit, and then I started season 2. Like, admittedly, due to my schedule, I didn't really start it until we got to until it was like around, like, I think it was like a month away, and so like I gave it a watch. I felt right at home. Like, I started it and like, oh hey, like, it's Yozora, like, hey, it's Rika, like, it's the girl who was the huge pervert back in season 1.
Excalibur. One of the classic moments, but
and then you hear Maria's like goofy voice again.
Oh my god,
like,
yes.
Her voice just makes me melt. Like, she has the best voice acting in the show. Like, I cannot deny that.
But you know what? Speaking of these, more of the same. Speaking of these golden classic moments.
Well, I mean, I didn't necessarily say it's more of the same. I said like I just felt right at home because I knew everyone going into it.
Yeah.
What I really liked about like season 2, like, because like, instead of starting with like, oh, we're creating the neighbors club, it's like, oh, we already have the neighbors club, so you just go right into it.
Yeah, it's already established. You don't need to have that intro one, like, again for the second time around. But on the note of these golden moments, right, and these moments that we know and love in Haganai, I want to know more about your favorite moments, or perhaps least favorite moments in episodes within the second season.
I'm pretty excited to kind of give my opinions on that. Favorite moments, Kevin, do you want to take a guess of what one of my favorite moments were?
Sexy beam?
No, it was no. Sexy beam.
Come on.
No, that was just, Sexy Beam was cringe for me. It's like the spanking, like I got that he spanks his daughter, like, how old is she, like 16 or whatever.
Okay.
It's like, it's a bit weird. Like, the first time, okay, that's fine. Okay, that was a joke. You didn't need to bring it on again and then just, oh, dad spanked me again in my ass, and it was just.
Or you're talking about when Sena was getting her hair?
No, this is the time after that with the was the Sexy Beam that time?
It was
a different time, wasn't it? It was the tarot card reading.
To have good luck, she has to go on the roof.
Yes.
With like a bowl on her head and shout sexy beam as loud as she can.
That was for the reading, wasn't it? For the what do you call it? Not tarot card reading, but it's psychic. Yes, that's the one. It was for the fortune telling. Sexy Beam wasn't really one of my favorite moments, but one of my favorite moments is when Yozora, well, you know it's going to be a Yozora moment. It's when Yozora was playing the when Yozora was watching the Homo, was it called Homo Game? Homo Game Club or something?
Oh yeah.
It was the movie based off of a Homo game. Like they turned down like the sensitive moments so that anyone could watch it.
Kind of reminds me of season 1, right? Because it was a familiar joke when she was like, okay, read this in the game, and the way Sena before never used to read that kind of shit, and now she just read it, and she was like, it was awkward, right? Looking at everyone else's reaction, especially Rika and Yozora's reaction, they were like, cool, we respect you, like, that's it, let's not talk about the moment anymore. I found that was
like, while we're on this topic, I just have to say, I really like how Haganai just holds nothing back when it comes to
of course
humor.
Oh no,
of course, it's
at Sena's expense, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I think Sena really did pull it off. Like, she really showed, like, you know what, guys, fuck you, I'm gonna show you guys that I can do it, and I
show you guys just how sexy I can
it's
be.
embarrassing for her.
It's embarrassing for her, but it takes some balls to do that, right?
Yeah, it takes some guts to do that. And who among us here would be passionate enough about the games we play to do something like that?
I
wouldn't
would.
I really wouldn't. But that's because you're director of fanfic.
About your meat staff and how much you want to meat staff out loud in front of
oh no,
No, if you ever like want me to read something out loud, I will give you the manliest like impression I would ever use and read it in front of you just to make you happy.
That was one of the favorite moments. Another favorite moment that I had really within season 2 was it was, I think, when Yozora got to play the Otome game, the dating simulator. That I loved, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's not.
It was depressing.
It was
though, at the
depressing,
end,
but
to be
that's why
honest.
I liked it, right? Because she got to see, like, she was playing it as if it was herself. She used her name. You know, Sena tried to do the same sort of joke from season 1, but it backfired on her, right? With the changing of the names. But, you know, she got to see, like, because she doesn't interact with people, and because she doesn't show emotion to people, and she doesn't open herself up to people, she will just end up alone. And she got to see that, and, you know, it did upset her, and it was a depressing moment. But I do remember during my first watching, not the rewatching, but during my first watching of Haganai season 2, you know, I don't want to say this, but I saw a lot of myself within Yozora, because it was a time when, you know, I didn't really speak to people, I didn't really do this or that, or interact with people in that way, and it was just like, damn, if I don't do that, then I would probably follow the same suit. So I kind of related to her in that sense, and it kind of got to me. It was a depressing moment, but I did enjoy it because it kind of brought some realism to this anime in such a way.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I just liked how like it wasn't really that moment it wasn't like her playing the dating sim that I really liked. It was how it connected to the overall plot of the story and just her character.
Yeah, it's a moment of growth, right?
Yeah.
It's just that it reflects herself, right? And from that she learns. So it's a depressing moment, unfortunately, in an anime that's usually very lighthearted and very, you know, funny, but it's a necessary.
But the thing is, does she truly learn from it? And that is something that we're going to bring up later on.
I think we should bring that up later. Yeah.
So that's in terms of my favorite moments. That would be it.
Would that take the cake for you?
I would say, yeah, that would be one of my favorite moments. My least favorite moments.
Oh, it's gonna involve Sena.
No, it's not. Funnily enough, it does not involve Sena. I actually enjoyed the Sena moments within season 2. It was
sexy beam.
Sexy beam.
Yeah, we're gonna start every episode of Kunai from now on.
Sexy beam.
Sexy beam.
Sexy beam. What was it? It was the moments that had the redheaded girl. Really, I did not enjoy.
Aoi.
Yeah,
Aoi.
I really did not enjoy that.
I didn't
moment.
really take note of her, honestly.
It was kind of
what moments? Is it all moments?
Not all the
intro?
moments. I think her introduction and how she was kind of introduced as a rival, and
she was in the show for one.
Yeah, it was. I can understand that they probably wanted to do more with the character, and obviously I haven't read most of the light novel. I really haven't gotten to the point, but I would presume that she is a prominent character within that. I genuinely did not enjoy those moments with her and obviously the student council president.
Does you not enjoying her still include the moment where she got owned by Yozora and Sena? You know, when she goes into the club and gets fucking wrecked by both of them?
The moment where which are you talking about? Are you talking about
where Yozora just fucking like flips out the goddamn rule book and starts citing like holes in her argument?
She didn't even read it. She was just telling her.
I know.
Like
she hadn't memorized.
I don't know.
Like,
even that moment, I felt it was I don't want to say cringy because that's not the right word. It just it made me feel very awkward, right? Because as much as I really don't like the character and the way she was introduced, it made me feel bad for her because it's kind of like, oh, Yozora, you're being a little bit of a bit. Not necessarily Yozora, it was actually Sena. Sena was sorry, Kevin, but Sena was kind of a bitch in that moment, and it made me feel bad because it was.
I'm glad she was a bitch. I hated
especially the way that she calls her dad and shit. It's like, okay, it made me feel bad for the girl. That's just my opinion.
All right, fair enough.
I felt no remorse for her. Like I wish she was gone.
I love that moment. Just how like fucking it was the few moments where Yozora and Sena worked together, and it fucking went so well because I especially love Sena's moment, right? Where like she's just bitching there in the background, how they're like kind of screwed, and the club's gonna be shut down and all that, and then Sena just fucking casually flips out her phone, makes one phone call, comes back 2 minutes later, is like, no, we're good.
But here's the thing, she's one of the characters that I really dislike in certain shows. It's like I hate how like I know she was supposed to be the joke, like oh she comes in like she tries to like disband the club like and then like she fails, but like she was like becoming persistent to the point where like she almost got it like disbanded just because she had like a little bit of a rivalry between like her and Sena, which wasn't even a rivalry, it was jealousy, but like which is why it felt really good to me that Sena just went up to her face and just like shut her down.
You know, I would not be surprised if she ends up joining the Neighbors Club.
I wouldn't be surprised either, but like I'm just glad that it's like she was just shut up. Like she annoyed
Can I
me. I'm
play
like, I
the
don't want
devil's
her
advocate
shutting
for a
down
second?
this club.
I know that, you know what, usually we don't talk about characters in the favorite moments section, but since we're already so deep into her character, and you know, there's so little to say about her anyways, I'll say one thing, okay? And I think that Tyson might agree here, just judging off of what he told me when he watched second season. And I think that, you know, it's easy to hate her on the surface, like Yozora, right? But we gotta keep in mind that what is this show about? It's about, you know, these people who don't necessarily have friends, right? You're kind of like awkward in social situations, so they may seem, you really dislike them on the surface, but so were all the other characters at the beginning, right? Yozora was bitchy, and she still kind of is. Sena was hated by almost everyone, probably hated by everyone except for the boys, obviously, right? So I think that she fits quite well into the cast of characters when you consider that the rest of them weren't exactly, you know, white knights when they were introduced either, right?
Yeah, no, I see your point, especially obviously with Kodaka. He was, you know, delinquent. They're all outcasts in their own way, right?
Yeah.
But I feel that just the anime doesn't give her enough story time.
Yeah.
That might be why that we think like this, and they've portrayed her in a certain way.
Well, I guess I was just upset how like she was just suddenly introduced, and like suddenly like the club is like probably gonna be destroyed, and like that just kind of annoyed me. I'm like, why are you introducing somebody whose only purpose was to like get her like out?
One
of the way?
thing that I did want to mention in regards to favorite moments and things like that is how come there was no swimsuit episode? Why?
Bish, I'm gonna shut you down right now, actually, because I think we got something a lot better.
Yeah, you need to shut up, Bish.
We have something a lot better than a swimsuit episode in season.
There was no swimsuit episode, and there was no tits. Where were the tits?
What are you talking about? There was a shot of Sena's tits.
No, we saw
every
Sena's
other
tits
episode.
without any sort of censorship in season 1. Where's
Bish,
that?
did we watch the same anime? Did we watch the same show here? Because if I recall, yeah, okay, season 1 swimsuit episode with Sena was pretty nice, right?
Yeah.
Coming from a Sena fan.
Hell
But
yeah.
may I remind you that we got the fucking Maid Cafe episode, which was fucking legendary.
But the Maid Cafe is not like Universe. Remember, Universe. What happened to that?
What? Okay, dude, I have to defend myself here because Maid Cafe, the episode 6, that was one of my favorite episodes, and I think it's one of the legendary moments of season 2.
Why?
Right? Because you get so much in it. Okay, so you get fucking Rika's super intense like Sun Maid persona, right? There's Sena's legendary Moi Moi Kyun.
Okay.
And there's also the Yozora fan service and the you've peaked moment. So I mean, I think episode 6 is jam packed with quotable lines and shit. So
Well, I mean, the maid episode. Well, as far as the maid episode is concerned, like, Kodaka didn't peek in. Like, he's like, oh, like you forgot something, and then he sees Yozora trying to put on the maid outfit, and it's just like,
oh, that was a good. Like. Yeah, that was a good episode.
Gotta say, it was a nice moment.
I did not like the whole interaction with Rika. She was being overly like Cinderella, man.
You know what? Since it's a season 2 episode, actually, explain to me why you think the swimsuit episode in season 1 was better than the maid moment we got here.
Why? Because we saw it was a beach episode, right? And we got to see a lot of people within there. Even I don't know how to explain it because there was multiple swimsuit episodes. There was the one with Sena in the pool with Kodaka.
We don't need a swimsuit episode.
No, we need a swimsuit. This is
oh my god,
we don't need a swimsuit.
Your
episode.
criteria is
romantic
absurd.
Comedies, especially one like Haganai, always has to have. This is
no. Bish, you don't understand. Haganai is the exception. It is the exception to the golden rule.
No, it's not. Every like Toradora has it, Orimo has it, a lot of anime have it.
There's no reason to have 2 swimsuit
we need a
episodes
swimsuit episode. Even Bakken Test season 2 has a swimsuit episode, and we need that. We need that fan service in that way. Although yes, they've given us fan service in more creative ways. I understand that. That's perfectly fine. But I think we do need a swimsuit episode.
What attracts you about the swimsuit episodes? Like, what attracts you so much to the point where you need another one?
We learned quite a lot from the swimsuit episode within season 1 in regards to Yozora, in regards to Sena. Obviously, when those guys were hitting on Sena within season 1, we learned how she kind of deals with these people, and obviously we got to see more of Kodaka and how he kind of defended her.
So basically, you wanted them to be hit by guys.
No,
again.
I don't want that. I want those kind of moments where Kodaka can shine and be like, what?
We did, Bish.
Did we?
I think what
you
Joe's
don't
trying
need a
to
swimsuit episode
did we?
to do that, though.
We did get these character development moments, but in different contexts.
Okay, I just want to see tits, alright? Leave me alone, guys. I like
There's enough with Sena.
No, I like swimsuits, alright? Leave me alone.
You can...
Okay.
Dude, you can touch yourself to the season 1 swimsuit.
No, it's not the same, Joe. It's not the same. It's not the
Alright,
same.
so
Oh my god.
ironically enough, from this discussion, we've learned important things about Bish. You know, we've learned that he's got a swimsuit suit.
No,
fetish,
it's not just
okay?
yeah, I do, but it's not just that. I want to see Yozora with short hair in a swimsuit. Hell yeah!
Well, I'm sure you can find Rule 34.
No,
everywhere,
that's not the
but
same.
don't
It's not
you
official.
worry.
It's not official. It's not AIC doing it. Come on.
Okay, fine. What other favorite moments do you have, or are you done?
I'm done with my favorite moment.
Okay, because I'm gonna have to continue on with these legendary moments here, and I just do not think that I would forgive myself if we moved on from the favorite moments without mentioning.
Especially without saying my favorite moments.
Yeah, especially without Joe's favorite moments. But for my section.
You know,
of
Kevin, I
favorite
know you
moments-
forgot. I know you forgot.
No, man, we
Like,
love
I
you,
know
Joe.
you
We
were
love
like
you.
after you
I
were
would-
done talking, you were gonna move on and be like, oh, like, hey, everyone said the favorite moments. Now I'm gonna have to go in and be like, hey, you son of a bitch.
You know why
I didn't
he's
say
doing
anything
that?
yet.
Because in season 1, he didn't get his time to talk. So he's
I just
making
really
that
want to
time.
make sure that it doesn't happen again, because season 1, okay, I don't care if I don't get to say anything, but season 2, it was like the show for me, right? So I gotta get my opinions out there. But in terms of golden moments, another one on my list is the 4th episode where they go to the theme park, and specifically the roller coaster scene.
Which roller coaster? There's 2 roller coaster scenes. Are we talking about the one where they go 8 times?
Both of them are good, but the first one specifically, the first time, when fucking let's see, so fucking Yozora and Sena are both losing their collective shit. Okay, Rika fucking goes in fucking insane.
Well, she's turned on by it.
No, it's fucking hilarious. And then I think
See, Bish, this is why Kevin has better opinions
What?
than you.
Come on.
See, this is why, like, the fact that Kevin and I share the best girl is a sign. Like, Kevin and I just have that synergy.
yeah, like Joe and I are like yin and you're like yang, dude. You're just on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Okay. All right. But we need
want
that
something funny?
differences, right? This is how kunai works. If we all had the same opinions, it wouldn't be a fun
fair
discussion.
point. I will give you that.
Think about that.
I will give you that.
Well, I mean, with that said, like, Kevin just basically
Yeah,
said
Joe.
my
Joe,
favorite
actually, I'll let you
episode, too.
continue here, Joe. Can you
Okay.
explain to Bish, this non-believer, why it's such a freaking great episode?
No, I'm not saying it's not a great episode, but
As soon as Rika goes to the top, fuck.
but she says it multiple times within the series, right? Within the season, she's the one saying fuck a lot.
Well, it's the build up with like them being like Rika being totally calm where everyone's freaking out, and then as soon as she just says fuck, I'm like, this is my favorite moment. And then when they go down the roller coaster, like you see Rika rambling, or everyone else is just screaming.
What
their
about
eyes out.
Yukimura within that scene? She was
Oh
just
my
pretty
god,
chill.
Yukimura was fucking. If I'm not mistaken, she was reciting like a it was either like a song, poem, or like a prayer or something. She was just.
I believe, I don't want to say it's a prayer. I think it's something to do with the samurais of that time, because obviously she's very like, samurai based and shit. So I believe it's something to do with that. Either that or it's a suicide note that she's reciting. I'm not quite sure.
Either way, it was hilarious, and I'd also like to add like another favorite moment, which kind of works in tandem with the roller coaster. It's when Yozora and Sena were trying to like challenge each other,
That was alright, yeah.
and then they're doing it so many times that they were like totally blue and they just threw up.
That's another thing. Within that episode, we got to learn
We
quite
got
a
to
lot
learn
about some characters.
Like, I forgot about this when we watched it, but I was like, oh yeah, we don't officially get a confirmation of Yuki's gender until this episode in season 2, right? For the whole season 1, you were feeling trapped. You're like, so is Yuki a trap or is Yuki not a trap, right? But you get the official confirmation in this episode, right? So
It's very interesting because like it isn't like Yukimura trying to pretend it's more than just him trying to pretend, her trying to pretend he's a boy. She's a boy. Oh my god. I'm still not used to it, but like it's her.
there's just
It's her like thinking she can become a
But
guy.
bear in mind, the reason she thinks that is, it's going back to season 1, the reason she thinks that is because her family wanted a boy. They even gave her a male name, and they kind of pressurized her, right? So I can understand why she thinks that, because she's treated in that way by her family. But it is interesting the fact that she didn't quite understand that. It's interesting that she didn't understand what gender she was, right? She didn't understand that, she's born as a woman. She didn't really understand. She thought, okay, I'm a dude. You see what I mean? Until Rika had to explain to her. One thing to mention is that she didn't quite believe it when Maria was saying, that, oh, are you going to grow a penis soon or whatever? And she was like, yeah, I'm going to... She actually said it. She was like, yeah, I'm going to grow a penis when I become more mature. Genuinely, that's what she felt, right? No, it's not just Maria. It's about Yukimura. Yukimura actually believed that. She was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to grow a penis. She believed she would actually grow a penis, right? Until Rika had to explain to her Well, actually, Rika, what the fuck did Rika do, by the way? She just stuck her hand up there.
Rika taught her about the yaoi hole.
By the way, even before the talk, she just put her hand up her skirt and she was just doing stuff.
It's like, someday I will grow a penis.
Oh, okay. Here, I've been silent for the last few minutes because I've been trying to find that quote that I tweeted when I watched this episode, because this episode's so rich in quotable moments, right? Joe, you probably remember this, right? When Rika's going down the roller coaster, this is one of her quotes, right? I'll use my dramatic voice. You fucking run, whore bitch, universal gravitation. And she's like fucking shit talking. I don't know. It's just.
No, like I heard she was just rambling while she was on the roller coaster. I found that hilarious. Like she was
I was like, Rika's broken. Damn it. And finally, I don't know, because this episode has so many good moments. The final excellent moment in this episode for me was when Sena took Kodaka and the little sister to see the show, right? And the presenter is like, no,
that was so
the reason why it's in my favorite moments part is that the fucking presenter, Sena stands up, right? And is like, no, sorry, mom, you have to sit back down. So it was like, lol, Sena confirmed a MILF.
No, I just found that funny because like when you look at them side by side, like they look very similar.
Well, they do mention it within the episode. Even Kodaka and Sena say, like if I'm the mum, then you're dad. Just saying. One thing that I wanted to know about the episode: why was Kobato sad? Was it because she didn't like the fact that Yozora was referred to as mum? Because I believe her mother died, right? So
I think she was just shy about just going onto the
I think it might have been stage fright, but yeah, you bring up a good point that I didn't think of actually.
Yeah, bring up a good point too. Like
also just because I think that she feels scared, like legitimately scared by Sena, right? Because Sena is really obsessed.
She's intimidating,
with
right?
Obsessive,
unhealthy. It's just straight up creepy how obsessed Sena is with her, right? So
well, it's creepy how obsessive Sena can be, right? In general.
Honestly, just watching this anime a second time, I noticed you just notice how not creepy, but how disturbing some moments are, right? But I'll get into that in the story section later. But it's something I notice. Other than that, though, other than the Onisa bitch moment early on, I don't really have. I had to bring it up because it's not like a deep moment, but it's still a joke that I found very memorable. So I had to bring it up. But before I move on, of course, I can't just abandon Joe, right? I have to give Joe his 5 minutes of fame. So Joe, do you have any extra tidbits to share with us? What moments did you really like in season 2? Or you know what? Do you have any least favorite moments?
Least favorite moments,
or other favorite moments? Either one works. I mean, feel free to shit on Yozora at any time during this episode. Really, just go ahead.
Well, I mean, I'd say my least favorite moment is just the entirety of the last episode.
Okay, actually, you know what, guys? I know that we want to talk about that in this section, but can we talk about the last episode when we talk about characters? Because I think I think it's.
Don't worry, I'm not gonna talk about it in depth. I'm gonna put a cliffhanger right there.
Just like what they did.
Okay.
I'm just gonna put out a cliffhanger.
We will
we're
get back to that episode because I think that episode and character development, it's so hand in hand that it'd be a shame if we spoiled our thoughts on the characters before we get to that. But you know what? I think we can say that in general, season 2 has some fucking amazing moments. It takes the comedy that you know and love so well from the first season, and it cranks it up another notch, cranks up to 11. And that's what I love about season 2. That's why I was so hyped, way back when we recorded season 1 for Kunai. I was like, I'll be honest, season 2 is what I'm really looking forward to. And it's because of these moments, because, of Rika's moments, because of Yozora and Sena. Just all the characters have really funny, quotable moments, right? And they have good character development. Exactly.
So we didn't hear Universe again.
It's more of the same, but it's.
What do you mean exactly? We never heard
in
it.
my head.
Like remember, we get to hear Universe.
I guess
at
Sexy
all
Beam we'll have to do for now.
Sexy Beam is not as good as Universe. Let's be honest, guys.
Well, it's at a pretty high bar in season 1. Like let's be real here. It's hard to top.
Or Excalibur
and Universe.
Well, I mean, Sexy Beam was set up. Like Universe just kind of came out of nowhere, and it was just hilarious.
Sexy Beam kind of reminded me of this weird Dragon Ball Z. Like Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z, how he has special beam cannon. It reminds me of that. It felt like such a DBZ moment.
I can imagine it. I can imagine like somebody like Putty Isn't just using it.
Sexy Beam.
Anyways, those moments, right? They're really good, but they wouldn't be. Haganai obviously is not a completely slice of life anime. It's not like Nichijou, right? It does have a story, and I do think it does come into play more so in the second half of the anime more than the first. And I want to talk to you guys about that. Like, what changed in terms of story from season 1, and what do you think of those changes? Do you like it? Do you not appreciate the changes that they made to the story? You know, like, talk to me here.
I'll be honest with you. With season 1 and season 2, there is a tone change.
Okay.
Right? Season 1 is very more comedic, and it's about introducing you to the characters. We do get...
And, like, getting the neighbors club together.
Establishing the neighbors club, and just showing that this is what we do, etc. And it kind of, a lot of season 1, I don't want to say is pointless, but it doesn't really help us learn about certain characters, more so Rika and, Yozora and things like that. Within Season 2, there is more like a serious underlining tone, first of all, and there's also romance. Romance kind of embellishes within Season 2 a lot more. Going into Season 1, I knew from reading reviews online that it was classified as a romance, but it's not necessarily a romance, but you see that kind of peaking towards the end of Season 1.
Well, I mean, the romance was very... Well, sorry to interrupt you, Bish, but like the romance was very serious in season 2 to the point where it was like it wasn't just like synergy between Yozora and Kodaka. It was like Kodaka had to make a decision.
Yeah, it's that love. It's this awkward love triangle, and then you have like Rika jumping in the middle, and then there's moments with Yukimura.
Freudian slip right there.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, but it's those kind of moments. It's that kind of ultimatum. It has more of a serious undertone, and there is obviously this love triangle going on between Kodaka, Sena, and and Yozora as well. And it's more serious. More episodes are based around going on dates and things like that. And there is also more sexual undertones as well within the animation, specifically with Rika and with Yukimura. So it does get a lot more serious, a lot more depressing. There is talks of marriage.
It's like almost... Not quite, almost dramedy. And there's so much drama because of the relationships and so much tension caused between the characters.
Dramedy?
You know?
Yeah, but it's becoming a romantic drama, right? And it's true, and we do see it towards the end of that. And the light novels is classified as that. It's not necessarily. There's comedic moments, right?
It gets very serious, like around the end. Like it got very serious. I'm like, is this the same show anymore? Like,
but I think that's what Haganai was supposed to be, right? And season 1 was just an introductory point into that, and it's about getting people hooked to show them the true story, and I feel that it's done it well. It wasn't a bad transition by any means. Like towards season 1, I kind of felt that this was the route they were going to take, and they done it well. I have no kind of qualms about whether or not I like the changes. I really enjoyed the changes within season 1 and season 2.
I mean, I liked season 2. I liked everything about season 2, but I honestly disliked the ending.
See, this is again yet another example of Joe and I kind of aligning. I almost your opinion, not quite, but I can see where you're coming from, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I'll explain it later, but like I just had to say, like, there's something about the finale
was it
that
just the
just
story
kind of
finale, or is
my
it
overall
the story
experience.
overall that you have a negative opinion of in season 2?
I mean, I enjoyed I enjoyed the story like overall because we got a lot more it got a lot deeper into it. Like we heard we found out, like, oh, Sena and Kodaka are childhood friends too, and they were apparently
the funny thing is that was kind of seen, like it's hinted in season 1, right? Not directly, but the fact that the parents knew each other, that's kind of a giveaway. If the parents know each other and they still kind of hang out with each other, you would assume their children would as well, even at a young age, right? That's something to put out there.
Alright, I mean, for me, in terms of story, what I noticed the second time watching this, the gift of hindsight that I'm given this time while watching the second season is that, like I said earlier, the first time I didn't really notice certain elements, such as, there's the lighthearted, funny side of Haganai, but more so in season 2 than in season 1, I found that they focus on these darker aspects. So like Sena being bullied at school, right? Having, and her dad being visibly, worried about that. Her being bullied, about her having weird tendencies, like the photos in her room and stuff, and the wig. That was really fucking weird. It kind of disturbed me really. The fact that, Maria and Kate,
I found it really weird how you just like never touched upon that again.
I didn't say anything. Let's yeah. Anyways, there's.
Well, I mean, it's just like it's like, oh, apparently like Sena thinks that like by stalking Yozora, like she's.
Does she really think that? That's a question I want to put out to Joe.
No, that's my question throughout the entire anime. But like I
don't think it was
upon it again. But
okay, maybe you can be like, oh yeah, they're just doing that, for the lols, for jokes. But I legitimately think that she does, and that's it. it's kind of creepy. I don't know. It felt out of place.
Honestly, I was kind of hoping.
I think that there is another reason that she has those pictures. I don't think it's the reason for vengeance. I don't think it's that. I think there is another reason. Although I don't want to get into it currently at the moment. It's something you need to think about. To be honest,
I would like deep inside. Sorry to interrupt you again, Bish, but like to be honest, deep inside, I was kind of hoping that Sena would admit that she was gay.
That's actually an interesting point, which I want to touch upon later.
We'll get to ships, don't
Thank
you
you
worry.
for bringing it up.
But moving on, yeah, of fucked up things, there's like, you know, Maria and Kate having a broken family dynamic, right? I don't know what happened to their parents. I don't think they do have parents, right? Because Kate is kind of looking after Maria.
I think it's mentioned that they're
right,
orphans, and the church took them in. I believe that's the case.
So visibly that was mentioned as well, right? There's also Yuki's family issues, right? No. So just very serious problems that are kind of glossed over with humor, right? And most of the time, I guess during the first watching, I didn't really notice this because I was focusing on the funny moments because it's really distracting. But the second time, I noticed this, and
yeah, that's what the show does. Like, it just distracts you from the deep undertones by like introducing a lot of comedy. That's what I really like about it. It's like it's kind of like it has its moments, but like it also like it doesn't drift away from like
exactly.
giving you a nice laugh.
But I would say that's the best thing about the season 2 is that it has replay value. That's something we usually say for games, right? But there is some sort of value in rewatching it because you do get those other points as you grow, right? Haganai grows with. I know it sounds very cheesy. It's kind of like a fine wine. The longer you keep it for, and then you kind of age with it, and there is an appreciation, and there are things that you notice that you wouldn't have noticed before.
In terms of that aspect of the plot, I found it, you know, it was weird at times, but it added a certain depth and, as you said, this value to rewatching the anime, right? Because I honestly don't rewatch anime too often. I like to wait extended periods of time between watching so I can forget what I saw, and I think that for Haganai season 2 this adds value. It gives you a reason to go back and watch. But
yeah, of course.
Add on to what Joe said earlier, I do have to agree with him. You know, it's clear that, you know, we've all brought it up so far that season 2 does have its focus on drama that season 1 doesn't have. Unfortunately, just in my opinion, Haganai, like its best moments when it truly shines are genuine funny moments between the characters, right? And also when you get character development, right? I felt the stupid drama towards the end of the show, it didn't really fit in with the rest of the premise, right? I mean, yes, obviously, you can't just keep the season 1 premise where it's like, oh, you're still trying to build a club, right? You need progression in the plot. But I found that inserting this drama, and just more specifically the way certain characters, which I'll get into a bit, dealt with this drama was so fucking frustrating that it didn't ruin.
Well, let me kind of describe how I felt. Let me use like an acronym. Not acronym, that's the wrong word. Analogy. Let me use an analogy. Like, it's like when you watch a dark anime and it has like those big time skips, like, and like something really bad happens, so like the other half of the anime is like post-apocalyptic. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, actually, it's a little bit of a spoiler for Kid Icarus Uprising.
Sure.
It'll be easier to explain. There's one point in the story where like there's a break in the story where you advance 3 years into the future, and like you continue the game from there, and like everything has gone to shit. It's like I felt like Haganai season 2 like did something like that, and it's like in the span of a finale. It's like they had like, it's like, oh, like Kodaka hasn't gone to the club in a week, and like everything's like falling apart, and like they did that all in like 15 minutes.
One thing I do want to mention about that quickly, just to intercept, is that now it makes me rethink, because you brought this point up, it made me rethink whether or not they intended to do this on purpose, or whether or not this point was included within the light novel.
Whether they did it on purpose or not isn't really important here.
I'm starting to think it isn't, right? Because it reminds me, I don't want to say it's foreshadowing the true ending of Haganai, but it kind of feels like that, Kevin. It feels like they were trying to do that, and maybe they didn't want to do a season. That's what makes me...
I'll comment on a part of what you said, because I'll comment on the season 3 aspect later on, but I gotta disagree there, because looking back at it now, I do think that him running away from everyone, because they bring it up in the episode itself, actually, him running away from everyone and the problems and facing the other members of the club after what happened in episode 11, it makes a whole lot of sense. It really fits with his character, right? And the only thing I disagree on with Joe with is, for me, it wasn't the last episode, it was kind of the last few episodes, because before that, even...
Well, I mean, actually, let me explain a little better. It was like the last 2 episodes, if I want to be more specific about it. But like, it's just like the end of the finale was what got me, like, what hit me the worst. Like when, like,
don't get me wrong, the drama, sure, it can be done, right? You kind of need that once in a while to mix things up, right, to prevent the story and the dynamic from getting stale.
Well, no, like, don't get me wrong, like, Haganai did a fantastic job with like incorporating drama. It's just like at like around the end, it kind of
yeah. I think
like,
the drama
did too
could
much
have
of it
been done
like,
right. It's just Kodaka really could not handle that shit well, and it makes for such awkward moments between the characters, right? That it's just frustrating. But you know, speaking of characters, of you know whether you like them and whether you find them frustrating like I do with certain ones, let's talk about just that, characters. Like, how has your opinion of them changed and stuff? Let's go over the main characters actually. Let's get Yozora and Sena out of the way first, and Rika and Yuki as well, right? So let's talk about them.
Okay.
Who wants to go? Actually,
I kind of want to. I really do want to talk about Rika. I really like Rika's development in season 2. Like in season 1, like she felt like a joke. I will be honest. Like she was just like there to kind of like to be like that one perverted character that squeezes in the jokes from time to time. But like with season 2, like you got so much like insight onto her, like the kind of person she is, and it felt really good. Like even though I trashed the end of Haganai season 2, I really like Rika's like role in it. Like she changed my opinion
for
on
me,
her
she
quite
made
a bit after
the
that.
last arc bearable because she was the one who wasn't having any of Kodaka's shit, right? And I gained a lot of respect for it. It's not like I didn't respect her before, but she's developed a lot.
I agree, but I wouldn't go to that extent and say she made the last arc bearable. That I disagree with.
I mean, I'd say she was like the light in the dark.
What is your
tunnel,
opinion
you know what I mean?
on Rika? Do you think that
Like,
like you've grown to appreciate her more? Like, is it as significant
I
as
would
me
say
and
so.
Joe's appreciation of her, or no?
I would say
Okay.
even more.
All right.
I would say even more than your appreciation. Before, I did kind of shit on Rika in season 1, and she was a comic relief. But throughout this, you've noticed within every episode, she's changing parts of herself, right? And I can see that she doesn't feel okay with her image. That's why she wants to do that, right?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say she's changing parts of herself. I feel like she's
but
just being like more
not
honest.
necessarily more honest, but she wants Kodaka to notice her. That's what it's. We joke about senpai notice me, right? But clearly she wants to be loved. Like she sees, how Sena gets treated and Yozora gets treated. She wants the same sort of
I'd have to
thing
disagree
going on.
with you there. I mean, yes, she does grow
Why?
a lot, but I don't think it's just like, oh my god, please Kodaka notice me. But I think it's more like they mention it in the anime that she's the one that tries the hardest to make friends, right? I don't think she's going after Kodaka. She just wants to preserve keep her friends happy, right? Not just him.
She wants her friends, right? I understand that. It's understandable, especially how she kind of treats Yozora with the game and kind of defends it with the game and things like that. But and especially creating things for the club, right? But I kind of see the whole Yozora thing, the whole Kodaka thing, mainly because she does change her hairstyles a lot. She takes off the glasses. She wants to become a new person, not necessarily a new person, but she wants to kind of break herself out of the comic relief. And it's yes, she's still a funny character, right? But she's not. I feel that she's not there just for the jokes, right? She's actually a good character, a funny character, a character who my opinions have changed. Like before, I used to kind of hate her because she was the comic relief, and now I kind of love her. Like I don't want to say one of my favorites because obviously Yozora best girl, but I don't know.
Well, she could be one of your favorites, and Yozora can be your best girl.
My heart has kind of changed towards her, and I don't want to say I've seen a lot of myself, but she's clearly kind of vulnerable, and she's kind of showing her vulnerabilities, which it's part of being human, right? She's more of a human character within season 2 than she was within season 1. Although I didn't like that scene, that weird Magneto scene.
Oh,
what the fuck was that?
Let's just save that for the end. Let's save that for. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I think that's what we should end with.
But yeah, that's my opinion. That's my opinion on Rika. I really do love her within this
season. Would you please do the dirty with me, senpai?
She's just great. She reminds me of someone I've actually spoken to in real life, and it's like, oh man, that's just like, it reminds me of one of my friends. I'm like, damn it, that's kind of cool.
No, I know a lot of girls who ironically.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's like Rikas do exist IRL.
Honestly, just because the characters at their core, right, when they're first introduced, they're based off archetypes, right? And consequently, I do find that to a certain extent, like, you can really identify with a lot of the characters here, right? Like you said earlier that you really like that moment with Yozora and the game because you could relate to that, and I think that's one of the strengths of this anime, right? That you can relate to so many of the characters, right, and the stuff that they go through, right? And on Rika, going back to her, like I completely agree with you and Joe that she has developed a lot, and I think I appreciate her a lot more in season 2 than I did in season 1. But just I don't think that the changes in season 2, I don't think it was provoked by her wanting to get noticed by Kodaka. I feel that she did it for herself because she got more comfortable with these people, right? The Neighbors Club has been going around for, it's been happening for quite a while now, and she can afford to show herself a bit more to her friends, right? She can be honest more. I don't think she's necessarily going after Kodaka's attention. Could have been,
but why do you think?
I don't think that.
Okay, but the thing is, why do you think that she's always asking, "Oh, have you noticed something different with me, senpai?" Or things like that. She doesn't necessarily ask other characters, but it's usually just Kodaka. And
fair point.
Kind of mention it. They did kind of mention it. The red-headed girl did mention that, that it's a bit weird if you date one of the girls because you're the only guy in a group of, in a harem basically. So it's like they will get jealous, and it's kind of, I don't want to say Rika's jealous because I'm not going to say that. It doesn't really seem fair, but you can see points of that because she does mention it. She says, why do you notice these other girls? You don't necessarily notice me. Or that moment when Kodaka noticed, she kind of got like, oh, how come you didn't say it sooner, right? She did mention those, and she did kind of say that on multiple occasions. That's why I thought that way.
Up a fair point. Actually, I did not notice that before. I got to concede and agree with you there. Although I don't think it's a main part. But now that you brought that up, in retrospect, it actually does seem that it may play a larger role than I initially thought in her changes. Speaking of other main characters in Haganai, though, how about I get the one and only fan of Yozora here to talk about her?
Yes, to talk about Yozora, I think Yozora, for me, my opinion, Yozora is still best girl, right? I'm just saying
okay.
that. It's just saying that. But
Yozora's still best girl, but she's gone worse.
she kind of.
Oh shit!
That's
called it.
You didn't think I would say that. on my first viewing of that, Yozora was on this like godly level, right? So no one, like, I couldn't criticize her. And now I'm rewatching it again. I've become more mature. Bear in mind, it's been 5 years since I've seen season 2. So looking at it again, I'm like, she's quite childish. She's incredibly childish, and a lot of the things that she does, it doesn't make sense. Like, she does it out of her own emotions. She's quite selfish. Yes.
She acted the same exact way in
season 1.
Same
way in season 1, but I kind of gave her a pass, right? Because I felt, she was a childhood friend.
Because he had a hard-on for Yozora as soon as he saw her. It's very
interesting that you bring this up. And I want to, before you continue, I want to ask you one question. And it's that, has rewatching season 2 changed your opinion of what Yozora did in season 1? Because I remember when you did the episode in season 1, we were trying to convince you that, hey, Yozora's acting like a bitch. She's really mean. You're like, no, she's not.
No. I don't think it changes my opinion on season 1. That's that.
All right.
That stands. What made me change, and this is the point. It's not about Yozora being mean or anything. Or that's fine. That's Yozora's nature. I'm not commenting on that. What kind of made me change my opinion on Yozora was actually what she did towards the end. That was a bitch move. She didn't need to do that, and it was out of the blue.
Are you talking about when she plagiarized?
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the very end. Because it's a very similar thing to Kodaka. It's like, why are you doing that?
Oh, you mean how she ran away?
It's like, really, Yozora, you've done that. I believe, wasn't it Sena that done the same thing in season 1, if I'm not mistaken?
I don't think so, no.
But did she?
We call her...
No, okay, no, then I'm getting confused because I remember during.
No, I think you're confusing that with when she was running out of the house naked, screaming.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
One of the golden moments from season 1.
But universe, but that moment, it kind of made me see Yozora in this other way. I was like, okay, Yozora is kind of a coward. She's running away from her problems, similar to Kodaka. I'm not the greatest fan of Kodaka, as you guys know, and to see that and to see those character traits, it's a disgusting trait, right?
I mean, understandable,
especially.
That happens in real life, right? And I wouldn't reproach anyone necessarily for doing that in real life, but
no, I understand.
I guess in a way, it's just like I kind of agree with Bish. Like, here's the thing, liked Yozora during season 2. Like, well, I never really disliked her. I just thought she had a lot of issues. It's like, but like in season 2, I feel like she got a lot better. Like in my opinion.
No, in a way.
But like at the end, it's like I feel like it kind of like tossed all of that out
That's
the
what it
window.
felt for me, because they built her up in such a way, and you know, she was kind of very how do you say,
like that's like part of the biggest gripe I had with the finale. It's like it just destroyed the foundation of like
what it was.
The show.
That's
was.
true. For me, Yozora, she was built up in such a way where, you know, she was kind of more tolerant towards Sena. Like, she wasn't as bitchy within season 2. You know, at certain point she was defending Sena, which was whoa, you wouldn't expect that. And it was like, okay, she's grown as a character, and she's...
I mean, honestly, when you think about it, they both, like, don't... Like, they both kind of, like, have a little bit of, like...
No, that's true, but what I mean is that, you know, for Yozora to do that, it's very...
unexpected.
It's a big change. It's an unaccepted change, right? But the fact that she just left right at the end with no sort of warning.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Not only does it make no sense, and to me it seems more of a season 3 plot point, but it's the fact that she did it in the first place, and it's just like, that's uncalled for. So it makes me think, okay, you've only left because Kodaka's left, which means you have no reason to come back to the club, which makes me think that you've only started this club to reunite with Kodaka, and that's a very selfish thing. For example, Sena came to the club because she had
interesting, but
no
I don't
friends.
think so, Bish, because didn't she founded the club before meeting Kodaka, didn't she? If I recall correctly.
I don't think so.
Well, I mean, they both made it together, I think.
They made it together because they actually done the...
Oh yeah, and actually I do remember. Yozora did recognize Kodaka.
She did. She recognized it, and she knew
which
who
is
it was.
why, like, she kind of went through with it.
It's weird because the anime kind of has Kodaka having these flashbacks and regretting the moments that he did, and the fact that he didn't tell Sora, aka Yozora, you know, that I was gonna leave and things like that. So he has those emotions, but obviously Yozora is taking it into such a kind of selfish way, and she's thinking, okay, I know he has those emotions because he did scream Yozora, Yozora during the dream. So I know that he has those emotions, but obviously when I heard Sena talking about the marriage thing, it probably got to her, and unfortunately, she kind of broke down, and she was like, you know what, I have to take a break from this. And we've seen this in other shows. Friends is an example of that, but...
Again, sorry to interrupt again, but like, it felt like they were, like, what Yozora did at the end just felt like unconventional to the tone of the show.
Honestly...
Like, it just felt like it kind of went
I don't necessarily think so, because there are other shows, and I'm gonna be talking outside of anime, right? Where you have this dynamic where, like for example, Seinfeld or Friends. You're probably too young for Friends, sorry. But Friends had this weird dynamic, right, where Ross and Rachel, they kind of broke up and got back together, etc. And it was just a group of 6 guys, or just 6 friends, really. And she left, and then in the end, they go chasing after her. And it seems like this is the case, and it does happen. Obviously, this is kind of because it is a drama. It's becoming a drama. They wanted to introduce that, and no better way to do that is with Yozora. It just makes sense, right?
Well, I meant unconventional in the sense that like it's so different from what like the show was so far, like going on a journey and then like kind of.
But bear in mind, the show
it's like what's
the show is evolving into a romance, a romantic drama, as opposed to a romantic comedy. That's what the show is evolving into.
I have to agree but disagree there on that point, because I mean,
I
understand that, you know, her running away might be contradictory to what we've seen in the show so far as a premise, but I wasn't as disappointed by that aspect of the finale as you guys were, because I mean, I do feel that Yozora actually improved in standing for me over the second season.
I just think it should have been...
Yes, she does get better because she has her genuine moments, right? She defends Sena and all that, but I find that her running away is kind of in line with her character, because I've always seen Yozora is kind of, you know, she has this bitchy exterior, right? But she's actually very insecure about certain things, right? So when she's confronted with that, moment of crisis, right? I'm not surprised that her instinct is to run away from that issue or try to get away from it, right? Because she's always been like that. That's just part of her personality, right? She's bitchy on the outside, but she's got some...
Maybe she's always been like that, but I've never seen it before. So for me, it was a very pivotal moment.
Well, I guess in a way, I just wish it was fleshed out more. Like, I wish it didn't just happen so suddenly. Maybe it would have maybe it would have been easier just
my opinion of Yozora in season 2 is like, you know what, I appreciate her getting slightly nicer. I'm not going to overstate it, but you know what, I'm not surprised that she did that at the end. because here I'll read you some quotes actually that I took down. Because in episode 1 of season 2, she literally says, "Seeing you ranting and crying is always such a good time for me." Straight to Sena's face, right? So like it tells you about her character, right? And even in halfway through the season, in episode 6 with the fortune telling, right, with the Sekshibin, she's bullying Sena, right? She's still a bully through and through, right? She does have her moments, but all bullies do, right? Bullies are not monsters. Bullies have their own problems, their own insecurities, right? So we do get to see this other side of Yozora, which I do appreciate, but it does not surprise me in the slightest the way that she acted in the end. So that's why I wasn't as disappointed, because I was like, you know what? I saw that coming.
As number one Yozora fan, it did kind of change my opinions on Yozora, and you know what? I'm gonna go as far to say as it changed my opinion on Best Gal. I'm just
Holy
sorry,
shit, really?
You know, as a huge Yozora fan, I'm surprised you haven't like mentioned her like boy, like mentioned like that one scene in the
one on the train with the boyish
on the train when she's wearing her boyish outfit.
Mamma mia, that's a spicy
I'm surprised
meatball.
you haven't mentioned that until now.
That was a good moment.
That was
because of the character
moment.
design, and it's hell yeah, Yozora, you look sexy, girl. You know, I can't deny.
No, like what I like about the animation was that it was just so shiny.
That's what I like about it. The shiny thighs.
AIC has this
I don't want to get
distinct style, right?
The shiny thighs.
Them shiny thighs.
Tell us more about how you like those shiny thighs.
I don't want to talk about it. I just have an appreciation for sheen in anime.
You really appreciate
like,
that.
that's why I really like One Punch Man, because of.
Am I right?
That's why I really like Lark's animation, like with Danganronpa and like Danganronpa 3 and Assassination Classroom and such. Like their animation is just so smooth and it's amazing.
I found that it was. You know what? I'll touch on animation later. We can get to that later. I'll contribute then. But I think we've got Yozora out of the way. I'm pretty satisfied with our discussion on it.
Yeah.
May I have the honor of opening Sena?
Ooh, should we leave Sena to last?
If you want, sure. If you think that, okay.
I think we should. The reason why is because I really want to talk about other characters. Because Sena, I want to leave Sena to last because there is a big revelation about Sena for me. But I want to talk about characters like Yukimura.
Oh, okay. If you listen very carefully, you can almost hear Tyson like mumbling in the background.
Oh, Tyson's knocking.
I know we're talking about Yukimura, but you need to calm
Sorry,
down.
Tyson, we're gonna...
I don't think Tyson appreciates these jokes, but sorry, Tyson, we're calling you out about... Was Yukimura his best gal?
That's exactly why we're bringing this up right now.
My original opinions on Yukimura wasn't necessarily the best. I felt she was a very stale character in Season 2. And I didn't like that.
Okay.
Yes, we got that big revelation that she's actually a woman, but
that surprised no one. Yeah,
it didn't really it surprised no one, and she was very stale, and she kind of continued. Okay, look, she's the butler now. Okay, ooh, that's so cool. No, it's not. We've seen butler characters before within these kind of animes, and they did reference Mayo Chiki. I'm not sure if you've seen that anime before, but it was referenced, and they actually showed scenes of that within this anime, and I was just like, really? It felt like a stale thing to do, and it was very predictable. And even the way that she kind of treats Kodaka, it remains the same. It doesn't change. Like, okay, maybe she does have this kind of romantic, slightly, like, probably some sort of romantic feelings towards him now that she realized that she's actually a woman, right? But it felt very stale. I don't want to say if she wasn't there, the season would pretty much be the same.
Well, I mean,
that's just my opinion.
I can agree with you on the fact that I personally don't think that she's changed too much from season 1.
But okay, I'll concede on that point. Although I stand strong in the sense that if she wasn't in this season, it wouldn't really make a difference, right? Do you see what I mean? If she wasn't there, kind of like Maria, she's not there for all the episodes. I feel that Yukimura didn't need to be there for most of the episodes.
Oh, Joe, what do you think of Yukimura? Do you think that she's changed, not changed for better or worse? What do you think of Yukimura?
I have to agree with Bish in the sense that like Yukimura is pretty much the same as he was in like season 1. It's just like you kind of find out more about her and like, oh, like she's a woman.
Honestly though, I think that ironically the one notable moment for me like involving Yukimura doesn't necessarily develop her backstory all that much. It's more so in link with Yozora, because you know, you may kind of gloss over the fact that, you know, after episode 4, I believe, right, when you find out that she is a woman, what does Yozora do? She makes Yukimura wear a butler suit, right? And you may think this is
she's
hilarious
intentionally
and stuff.
making her look unattractive.
Yeah,
towards-
exactly. Like I have to highlight the gravity of the situation here, because what you have is basically Yozora is effectively trying to fuck with, like it's already clear that Yukimura is already confused enough about her gender and all that, right? And
yeah,
she's
taking advantage of that, and that's something also I don't like.
Manipulating someone who's already so vulnerable and confused, right? And I think that's such a bitch move, right? And I'm not saying that because I don't like Yozora as much as Sena. I'm being honest here. It's just such, like, out of all the bitchy things that Yozora could possibly do, I think this is like a new low for her, right? Because yeah, you can be a bully and all that, but manipulating someone who's confused and vulnerable like this, it's so reproachable.
Completely agree with you, and that's also one of the reasons that I didn't necessarily like Yozora within season 2, and it kind of did change my opinions, because as you said, she's
still best girl.
We'll have to talk about that later. I did say at the beginning of the recording, but now there's a lot of revelations and it's making me rethink who is best girl. But regardless, I do feel that the fact that she did kind of manipulate Yukimura in that kind of way, and it did kind of backfire in her face, because she kind of got what was coming to her, and people like Tyson would probably enjoy and revel at that moment, right? But it was a dick move. It was uncalled for. She didn't necessarily need to do that, and the fact that she even thought about that, to kind of find someone that was weaker and someone who was clearly vulnerable and just manipulate them in that way, and she did that in season 1 anyway, because I'm pretty sure she knew Yukimura was a
As you can see, Bish, Yozora has always sort of been a bitch. Are you going to concede to that point? Yeah,
I'm glad you.
It only took
realized.
us. How long has it been since we recorded season 1 of this?
It's
only took you 2 years, but I think you're finally drifting away from the darkness.
2 years.
Has it really been 2 years?
Well, technically, I've seen season 1 like 5 years ago, and like the original season. So it took me about 5 years.
It took him 5 years to finally realize this, but I'm glad that you're finally seeing the light. I mean, don't get me wrong, Yozora is not. I'm not saying that there's nothing to like about her, but
He hasn't seen the light until he's joined the House of Sena.
There are aspects that objectively.
She has horrible traits.
Not that.
So I can't.
I'm not saying that she's unredeemable, but
No, everyone is redeemable.
Let's just move on to. Well, I mean, there are a few other side characters like Aoi, but we already covered her. The president isn't really important either. There are 3 characters left, and you want to cover Sena last, right? So
I want to cover Sena last. Should we
Sister
cover?
Kate? Yeah.
Sister
Okay,
Kate,
all right. Let's cover
she
Sister
gets
Kate.
quite a lot.
I gotta say,
Sister Kate's a bit weird.
She is, right? But honestly,
She's a bit weird.
I wouldn't use the weird against
interesting.
her. Honestly, I think it's one of the reasons why I like her.
No, I wouldn't.
Really.
It's nice. It's a nice weird.
She's kind of the tropey character. She's the trope of that adult, the teacher that's always like drinking beer and stuff, and like kind of like she was drinking Coca-Cola.
She wasn't drinking beer.
Coca-Cola,
like Coke.
but that's because she's not the legal age to drink. Although she grows out of that trope. Because you see her in season 1 for a brief moment, but she kind of grows out of that trope. She's more motherly.
Yes.
We see that with her sister. Calling up on her every time and
really
seeing
like
if she's
about
okay.
Sister Kate, actually. Yeah.
Being called
fucking Maria. Can you agree that
and-
Maria has the best fucking insults in the show?
I know, man. It's even better than Yozora's
Maria
insult.
just has the
Fucking
best
poopy
voice in the show.
It's quite funny, and the fact that she calls her an old hag and thinking that's her sister, right? It's a bit.
And she does it all with that childish.
When he's a
like,
bitch,
goofy voice.
topping
I
all
love
of
it.
them.
It makes me feel so good.
But
One thing that kind of interests me about Sister Maria is the fact
Sister
that
Maria. You need Sister Kate?
no, not Sister Maria, Sister Kate. Sorry, well they look the same. Sister Kate. What kind of?
Oh, I
freaks
completely
me
forgot
out
about
is
Maria.
actually-
Actually, yeah, we have to cover Maria afterwards. Well, I guess we can lump her in. This is good. Yeah.
Lump her in with this one, but is she actually a nun?
Who? Kate?
Kate. Because
Kate
it is mentioned.
Kate
officially is a
sister in Maria isn't.
But it's a bit. I don't want to get into technicalities, but it's like. There's moments where it makes me think she isn't a nun, right? Because she doesn't wear the habit all the time.
Really?
And
when
she's
is she not though?
It's an anime, dude. It's an anime.
When she's calling up Kodaka, she's not
Yeah,
wearing the
because
habit. She's wearing like a vest.
She's not on duty, right?
Yeah.
Bish, we can't use our
Oh,
logic.
all right.
This
It's
is
anime logic, but still, it's a bit weird the fact that she's like 15, and it makes me. I wonder how she got.
She's 16.
Oh, sorry, she became 16 within this anime. But the fact that she's
closer to being legal.
She's friends. Well, she's already legal.
Oh
in my
God,
country.
God, why are you even
she's-
thinking about that, guys? You fucking
Oh, God.
perverts.
I'm sorry.
God damn it, you shameless
Lord,
perverts.
forgive me.
Hey, it's just a
You know,
circle of
exclude
life.
me from this.
Okay, let me get back to the point. The fact that she's friends with Pegasus. I want to know how is she friends with Pegasus? What
Probably like through the faculty.
Yeah, but
She
it's a bit
works,
it's a bit weird. Like they're fishing buddies. How did they get to that point?
You had a theory that they were orphans and that they're taken in by the school, right?
It's not a theory.
Okay.
It's
Well, in that
mentioned.
case, wouldn't it be logical that
It's
perhaps
they were that's why they were taken in by
maybe
the sisters.
Pegasus arranged that? That's my theory anyway. Maybe Pegasus was the one who arranged for them to be taken in by the school.
Maybe they knew
Yeah,
their
possibly.
parents.
I want to imagine that it was by chance, like in like freaking Persona 5, when like you and Ryuji are just going out fishing, and then Kawakami just comes in out of nowhere.
You can't be bringing these
And
references.
then like she's like a fishing master, and then and then Pegasus just notices and like, oh, they've become good friends.
Yeah, that's really what I have to say about Sister Kate.
I mean, I actually quite like her though, because just first of all, because her design, gotta say, she's got some nice aesthetic.
She reminds me of Double from Skullgirls.
Yeah, okay.
Into-
That's
Oh
good
my
point, good
god,
point.
you're exactly right. But now that paints like a very like horrific image of her in my mind. Just her like transmorphing into like different.
Your
different
sins
people.
have no absolution. They're just morphing and shit.
No, personally, there's not too much for me to say on her. I really liked her motherly side, right? Because she does care a lot about Maria, despite, Maria, I don't know, just getting into funny fights with her a lot of times. She does call up on her a lot, right? So she does take on the role, this motherly role for Maria, right? Which I really do think builds her character.
She's like one of those 8 out of 10 characters, like the ones that are like not the greatest.
I mean,
but they
for a
still
character
offer
who
you
we
good
only
time.
really got to know in a few select episodes this season, because we didn't really get to know her in the last season, right? I think that within that short amount of time, they did build her up quite well, honestly. Like, they built her up more, in my opinion, than Yukimura, who's a main character, right?
That's true. That's true.
So is the Haganai joke of Kunai now just going to be?
Well, I mean,
trashy?
don't get me
man.
wrong.
She's-
Yozora is still like bitchy. That hasn't changed. I don't think Yukimura has done
Sorry,
anything
Tyson.
bitchy in this season, though. I can't.
Not in this season, but Haganai
I
overall.
don't know. That goes beyond the scope of this episode, right? So.
Okay, all right. What about obviously we talked about Kate, but I want to know Joe's take on Kate. Let's talk about Sister Maria, because I think
Can
she's
I go
very
first,
interesting.
Because I think I have the shortest point.
Yeah,
For
sure,
me,
sure.
It's kind of like Yukimura in the sense that she hasn't really changed all. She has changed a bit, but nothing significant in my opinion. For me personally,
I think look deeper.
she's still one of the
She
god
still has a
tier
god-tier
insults,
voice
the god
actor.
tier comedy, thanks to Maria. But I personally don't think that she developed, or I haven't appreciated her development as much as say Rika or other characters.
I will, but talking about Sister Maria, right? You mentioned that she didn't change as much, but I see a big significant change in the minor details, right? In season 1, she was, I don't want to say she was very religious, but she's got into her mind that, she is a nun, she's a teacher, she's better than everyone else, right? And she has this arrogance to her. And, the fact that she doesn't like Kobato and things like that, and there's that relationship there. But then you see her grow slightly. You see her become a little bit more laid back. She doesn't necessarily kind of throws the religion thing out of the window, and she becomes more of a normal girl.
Well, I mean, she's not a sister to begin with.
She's playing a game effectively, like how kids they imaginary.
Like she's playing sister.
Yeah, she's playing sister. That's effectively what she's doing, and she takes those restraints from herself that she's placed on herself, right? And she has the opportunity to become a child. She's never really got that before, and she did mention it that back in school she didn't get to see festivals or things like that because she was studying all the time, and that was something that she mentioned. So it makes me think that she didn't have much of a childhood. The fact that her relationship with Kobato has changed, if you've noticed, she gave Kobato a copy of the key that she has, the one that she carries around her neck.
Yeah, like they're more like frenemies, to be
No,
honest.
I wouldn't even say frenemies. Like I wouldn't if. I would only.
I mean, given the theme of the show, they're probably
Yeah,
friends.
they are friends, right? I think she relates to her a lot. She never had. I'm assuming she didn't have friends because she didn't study. Oh no, sorry, because she was studying all the time, so she didn't necessarily
I really
have.
think that the best way to describe the relationship between Kobato and Maria is, Maria to Kobato is kind of like Sena to Yozora in the sense that
It is in a way, but more loving, because you see, she just wants to have friends, much as like everyone else in the group, right? But obviously, she can't have friends with the other characters, because they are quite old in comparison to her, there's a less of a age gap between the two compared to, let's say, Kobato and Yozora, right? So you see her grow like in small moments, especially one where they were eating the fried chicken. When she comes over for the first time, she's eating the fried chicken and they're praying. You know, they said, okay, you don't need to pray, but just say itadakimasu, right? And she's there and she's saying the Our Father, and then she just goes through quickly, and then she just stabs the chicken, she starts eating, and it just makes me see that, you know, this kind of playing sister thing obviously was there, obviously because she's not really a nun, right? But because she sees her sister doing it, and her sister said, you know, it was for her to kind of protect her and to have her in the same sort of...
It's like it's child mentality, dude. It's like,
yeah, but it's
impatient.
good because it makes me think that, okay, she is becoming a child, she is having that sort of childlike interaction. Yeah, and that was the kind of minute changes that I've seen, but they're very significant to me because it's like she has changed a lot. In the first season, she was kind of serious, especially the way she's interacted with Yozora, and the way that Yozora was kind of bullying her with the potato chips and stuff like that, and making her run naked in the schoolyard. And, you know, it's changed a lot.
It's interesting. I mean,
yeah. Who are the other characters that we have to talk about? Because is Pegasus one of them?
Hinata, I don't know. Like she literally appeared for one episode, so she was nice. I want to find out more about her, but
she's also the first character I've ever seen. I'm sorry, Kevin, but like, she was the first character I've ever seen in a school life anime. Where she was the only student council president I've ever seen in a school life anime that hasn't appeared until like the last episode.
I don't have much to say about her. That's why I didn't like. Honestly, she could have not have been there, and that the anime wouldn't have changed that much. Maybe she's important later on in the light novels, but I don't know. I haven't read it yet. Right?
We don't know. Yeah,
not much to say.
What was the other characters that were there?
The two main ones here. I'm only missing Sena and Kodaka. Since we're going to save Sena for last, may I start with Kodaka, please? Alright, as you know, I remember distinctly in the first episode, in season 1, I was like, you know what, I really like Kodaka because he's unlike other protags, right? He's not like a fucking Shinji where he's not super whiny and all that. He's
kind of...
Whoa.
Sorry, John.
Whoa. As somebody who's actually seen him
Shinji's sort of a meme, right? That you can't deny. I do find...
I can't deny that, but I mean, like, oh my god, it gets kind of...
Well, hopefully we'll get an EV episode, who knows. But my opinion of him has actually gone worse. I think I'm surprised myself, actually, that I've made an about face regarding my opinion of him, because I used to think that, you know, he's pretty good for a rom-com protag, right? Because I usually find them very, very annoying. But it's just the way that he fucking handled his relationships with everyone during the last half of the season was so goddamn frustrating. It was the reason why I found it so fucking unbearable, right? Because he's so fucking awkward and socially inept that it fucking hurts, right? And one of the reasons why I really like Rika in the second arc is that she embodies my frustrations with fucking Kodaka, right? She says, you know, you never give a straight answer, do you? Right? She says that to him, and that perfectly represents why I don't like him in the second half of the arc, because, you know, he's confronted he's in a difficult situation, right? He's at a crossroads, right, where he's kind of forced to confront the fact that, you know what, these people are his friends, right? And for whatever reason, he's because it's the first time he's really had relationships like this, he's pushing these people who are trying to be there for him away, right? He runs away in the last episode. He fucking pretends like, you know, oh, I didn't hear you, Sena, over the sound of the video games, right?
You know why? Because I feel he's not. He came to the neighbors club to find friends. He didn't want romance, and when that was mentioned, you know, marriage was mentioned and things like that, and obviously Yozora coming in and trying to, you know, she mentioned, you know, oh, friends kiss and stuff like that.
I get that.
It's clearly not what he wanted.
I get that completely.
You know, and obviously he didn't want to alienate everyone else because it is mentioned.
I mean, that's fine, right? And if he was uncomfortable just because he didn't want romance, I'd be fine. But I think it goes further than that, because if you look at it, right,
how so? When
he doesn't want to admit that they're already friends, right? He's like, oh yeah, we're in this club to find friends, make friends, right?
But that's the thing. No one else admits that. I would say the only person that does admit that would be Sena. But Yozora also doesn't admit that either.
I know, right? And
she still says, oh, you know what? Friends go out and go on roller coasters and stuff, and we need to practice so that when we get friends, we can do that. But
yeah, but in the case with Yozora, I find
other characters also also feel the same way.
It's less frustrating because they're not outright denying the relationship that they have, right?
No, she is, because they mentioned, when they were saying, oh, we were past friends. Past friends is still friends, right? To you and me. If it was a friend from the past, he's still a friend. But she said, no, we were friends in the past. Well, what the hell does that mean? Right?
But that's specific to Kodaka. I feel that she is friends with everyone else.
I think it's really specific to Kodaka, like, as like the friend situation is concerned. It's something that's felt weird to me, like, during the show. Like, I get, like, the whole point of the show is about making friends, but, like, it felt really weird. Like, it's not really a problem with Kodaka. Like, I'm sorry to make it a little more general again, but, like, it's just, like, all the characters as a whole, like, a lot of the characters as a whole felt like they were aliens when it came to, like, the concept of friendship. It's like, they're like you've never done, like, what is this thing they call, like, a festival or something like that, like, just, like, throwing stuff out there. It's like they just felt like they had no idea about things that, like, the common people just should have known about. And it's like instead they should have done something like, oh, like, I've never been to something like that before because I don't have any friends. It's like they acted like they didn't have an idea of what, like, they were talking about.
Just so we're clear, I'm not saying that Kodaka is a bad person, right? I'm not saying Yozora is a bad person either, right? It's just that it is frustrating the extent to which she is socially inept. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just, I don't know if I'd be, like, how I would react to a person like that if I was actually friends with Kodaka, right?
Clearly, I think it's incredibly rude, right?
Yeah.
The way he's acting within this season, especially the way he kind of ignored Sena. It was a bitch move, right? It's like you're clearly you heard what she said, right? And you're clearly ignoring her. It's I don't want to say it's selfish once again, but it's like,
yeah, it's like if I said that, if you're talking about our friendship and I were to deny that that we're friends, right? That would be fucking.
Yeah.
It would piss you off, right? And Kodaka's doing it to everyone.
Yeah. Especially in front of you.
Like, right? And that's why I was so glad in the last episode that fucking Rika put him in his place, right? She's like, okay, wake the fuck up, buddy. You can't live in your little dream world where you can pretend that your relationships don't exist and that you don't have to deal with these issues, right? You have to deal.
I think personally for me, that Rika moment felt more like at least first time watching it felt more like an ultimatum, like who's the girl you're going to pick. That's what it felt like, as opposed to what you're suggesting. But I do think what you're suggesting is more correct, and I think that's probably the way it was meant to be seen.
I certainly interpreted it. The first time I saw season 2, I saw it as you did. I was kind of confused in the end. I was like, what the fuck is up with these, like, metal balls thing? Like, what is this last episode even? It makes no sense to me, right? But the second time while watching the anime, I got a deeper appreciation for that last episode, because yes, it's frustrating in a sense, right? Because of what happens if you start leaving at the end with Kodaka, with the time skip, him pushing everyone else away, him fucking just hanging out with the president and Aoi and just pushing out everyone who's trying to be friends with him for so long. But
it's like, hey, like, screw this, like, well-developed and hilarious anime. We're gonna spend time with the people who had no character development whatsoever.
And that's my problem with him. It's just that you see these flaws in him, right? And they really come out in the second season, where you don't really get that chance in the first season, right? There are some hints here and there, but in the second season, it's very apparent, and it's frustratingly, in my opinion. What you guys think of Kodaka? Like,
no, I completely agree with you. But now it makes me think, is that due to how he's written as a character, right? Due to kind of some sort of constraints within the animation? Or do you think that's actually how he is, or how he's intended to be by the author?
I think that's how he's intended to be by the author. Like,
well, I mean, I think it's just the anime itself, like, and how the pacing was.
Because I kind of, part of me thinks, it had something to do with the pacing, and then part of me thinks that, the author intentionally decided, I'm going to make Kodaka a character like this, is kind of have his flaws slowly being revealed as the light novel and as the anime kind of.
I do think that it is a characteristic that that this Kodaka shares with the character in the original light novels, because I honestly doubt that the show creators would take the liberty of making such a drastic change in his character, right? I think the author, and by author I mean, of course, the author of the light novel, I think their intent was to kind of make you see, like, his development in part is making you see these hidden aspects of his personality that you didn't quite see before. His ineptitudes, his insecurities and stuff. I think my experience with him, although it was frustrating in season 2, I do appreciate it, right? Because it kind of shattered this not perfect, but this good image that I had of him during the first season, right? And you know, yes, my image of him was good in the first season, but these frustrations that I have with him, these qualms that I have with him, do add a layer of depth to his character, right? He's not just some generic protagonist, right?
Joe, do you have any points on Kodaka before we move on to Sena?
Well, I mean, you guys basically explained like more or less what I thought of Kodaka in season 2. Like what I'm gonna say is like I preferred his season 1 persona more than.
But that makes me
his
wonder,
season 2
actually. You know,
persona.
like, was he always like this, or is it something that he developed more so in season 2, or no, was he just putting on a facade to mask these?
Well, I mean, in season 1, it was developing his character. In season 2, it was more like developing his flaws.
Well, obviously, I kind of agree with Kevin what you're saying. Like, is this kind of like a facade that he kind of breaks down for season 2? And I think it is.
Yeah.
You're looking back at the flashbacks and what he's kind of gone through within season 2 specifically, there's a lot of things that kind of explains his traits.
And now that you bring it up, actually, Bish, you mentioned the flashback earlier, right? And if you think about it, he didn't go see Yozora before leaving, right? So it's not the first time that he's running away from his problems or in difficult situations.
Because he easily could have done it, and he did feel bad about it, but obviously, clearly,
he chose to avoid it.
He doesn't learn
instead
from his mistake. Should we go on to Sena?
I mean, I want you to start because you've been teasing.
Oh, here we go.
Season 2 is within my first rewatch, like within my first watch. I'll be honest with you, I was still, you know, Yozora amazing, blah blah. But then looking at how Yozora is, and then looking how Sena is within this season, I saw the light. You know, I saw how she is as a character.
What do you define saw the light? What do you mean here?
I will explain that when we get to Best Girl.
Oh my god, you fucking cheese.
Oh, here we go. Kevin, it's happening.
With Sena, you see a lot of her personality kind of, at least I've seen that. It's really new to me, especially when she's playing the games and when she had that courage. You know, even it was an embarrassing thing just to talk about that meat stick. But, you know, she took it, she got the balls, and she said, you know, that's what I'm going to do. And the fact that courage kind of it made me admire her. Not just that, the fact that she was prepared with another script. Yeah, that was cool. Although it made me feel that she didn't necessarily have faith in Yozora, but still, she took that initiative to create a backup plan, and I like that. It's also how she was acting in regards to the marriage thing. Like, I found that was very mature.
But she's really honest about that,
and she was she was incredibly honest, and she said, you know what, it's not about our parents anymore, it's about me and you, and this is how I feel, and I think it should be a thing.
That was really refreshing.
And she doesn't shy away from it as much. We did see it towards the beginning, right, when she was that mother thing, and you know, she did kind of avoid the question, but then towards the end, and you know, when her father was talking to her about it, she did kind of come to terms, and she was like, you know what, this is actually what's happening, this is what's going down. I do have these feelings for him, and I want to make them known. And I did feel bad for her when Kodaka did that bitch move of just ignoring her and ignoring what she said. I felt emotion because I've gone through stuff like that before, and I kind of related to her a lot. I still don't agree. Not necessarily. I don't necessarily agree, but I find that, you know, her tits can be a bit too much. Can be.
Okay, fair enough.
Fair enough. But
that's a fair point, because I did notice a lot in the show where like they just they're like, even when like
nothing happening, they just jiggle.
Foresight to it.
It's weird.
Well, dude, I think they made it very obvious.
For example, I'm sorry, we need to talk about this. The scene when she's going to talk, with Kodaka in the chapel, there was no reason for her to like expose her cleavage.
that was just done for fan service, right? But that's anime, that's how it is. It's unfortunate. But even in those moments, or even there's one particular moment, actually, I'm trying to remember. It was a very redeeming moment for Sena, and it actually made me feel that, you know, she kind of grew as a person. I can't remember it now.
I like how you added as a person at the end.
She was just fan service before, but now she's a person.
No. That honestly, to me, she was fan service before, and she was.
Okay. No, I can see why, actually. Yeah.
There was two particular moments. One of the moments was, you know, when the fortune telling scene, and she actually got incredibly happy because she got kind of Yozora's approval, and this it made me feel bad, but it made me feel very happy because I was like, oh wow, she's enjoyed by this, right? And it brings me back to the point where I don't actually think
sexy baby.
I don't actually think she has a bad opinion about Yozora. I actually think she's, you know, she considers Yozora as a friend, a true friend.
Well, it's what happens when the person you're trying to be friends with is also your bully, right?
But I feel that, you know, I feel sorry for her, but at the same time, I do admire her because she's trying incredibly hard to actually make friends and to interact with people. The one thing that I kind of felt bad about was the fact that, you know, she is this voluptuous girl. She has massive tits, etc. And when she was talking about going to the school festival and things like that, and they did mention, like, Rika mentioned, first of all, the boys only liked it and they were getting really happy about that because your tits were flying about while you're running and your pants were showing during the play. And it was like, she was so happy about it, and then it just crumbled down, and it was just like, wow, that's real raw human emotion. And I would only imagine what she has to go through, not only being, you know, the popular, but at the same time being popular to the point where people talk behind your back.
Yeah.
Or it's a fake popularity where people are only nice to you because you're the popular person. Yeah, fake nice. Like, you're only nice to the person because they are the popular person and you want to kind of save face, but you think they're the most horrible person, right? So it was, I feel it for her because obviously she's going through that and she knows that, and her father knows that as well. Because I don't think bullying is also coming from Yozora. I think it's coming from everyone else, but obviously that's not necessarily talked about.
Honestly, Bish, I gotta say right now, like, I gotta thank you for that little discussion there, because honestly, if I were to go first, actually, if I hadn't heard what you said, what I would have said was that I didn't think that Sena changed all that much, right? I found that she was still kind of like a running joke in the series, where like she's, you know, smart, rich, beautiful, but she's still super naive, right? There's always the trope with her running out the door crying and stuff. But what you said actually makes me realize one of the traits that I appreciate a lot about Sena, right, is her honesty, right? In this show where we have like Kodaka being unable to communicate, you know, his feelings, his thoughts with his friends effectively, we have Sena, who's like, you know, is just straight up honest about her thoughts about their engagement, right? And the sexy beam scene, right, other than being really funny, I find that after that, you know, you reminded me of how I felt when she confronted Yozora, because what she says when she confronts Yozora, she's really mad because she said that she genuinely thought that she could make friends, and she wanted to make friends, and she wanted to be happy and have people that she could talk with, right? So it shows that her...
I think she really got angry more so by the fact that she thought Yozora knew what she was going through. But obviously she used that. Once again, it's showing that taking manipulation of Yozora, right? I don't know. I feel that's what... She felt betrayed.
Yeah, because she genuinely believed that she would get friends and stuff, right? And it's that, you know, it's that pure...
You can call that naive.
Pure desire, right? Yeah, she is naive, unfortunately. But, I don't know, for me, it's that genuine desire to have friends that, you know, it makes you feel for her, you know?
There's an innocence to that as well.
Definitely.
Like, she has no ulterior motive. Like, her goal in this is to have friends, and whatever happens is a bonus, right?
Joe, what do you think about Sena? Because I know that you agreed with me in season 1. I just want to know if it's changed at all. Because, you know, during the discussion, we flipped sides quite a bit, actually, compared to season 1.
Well, I mean, she was, like, I will admit, she was, like, she was the butt of a lot of jokes in season 1. Like, that I will agree with. And, like, just as you said, Kevin, like, she was, like, a huge joke throughout season 1. But it's, like, when, like, in season 2, like, she was still, like, sort of a joke. But, like, she still kind of had development. Like, you got to see a lot into her past and, like, just, like, learn more about, like, the way she lives. And on top of that, like, what's the words? It's just, like, yeah, like, she's just very honest. She wholeheartedly believes, like, stuff she was told, and, like, she was very innocent in that regard.
Alright, do you guys think we're done with the main cast? Because yes,
I think we are. I really want to get into...
Yeah, I think that it is time, finally. At long last, we've had a great discussion on characters, but yeah,
it's time for the drum roll.
Really... Actually, not yet. No. Right now, it's just favorites and least favorite characters. We'll save the drum roll for best girl. All right. But
favorite character in this season has to be.
Yeah, remember, favorite character for our viewers. Favorite character is not the same. Does
not equal best girl. Yeah. Favorite character this season, it's gotta go to Rika.
Yep, I agree.
Gotta go.
Rika. Just her. She's developed
mainly
so much.
Because of her.
I agree too.
Yeah, she's developed. She wins that award there. Like, That's my favorite character. Least favorite character.
She gets the unanimous decision.
It's got to be for this season, and I'm talking about this season. This has nothing to do with season 1, and has nothing to do with the
I think I know what it
manga
is.
or light novel.
Yeah.
You know what it is? Take a guess. What is it? You think it's Yukimura, but it's
No.
not. It's actually Yozora.
Yeah. That's what I was,
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
it's either Kodaka or Yozora.
Yozora has disappointed me a lot this season.
How the mighty have fallen from best girl in season 1 to least favorite character in season 2. Oh my god.
It's unfortunate. It's a flip-flop, right? And I don't think anyone watching this would have expected me to say this.
I admire your honesty and and the fact that you don't stick. I mean, you still like Yozora, obviously, right? It's just
The first step to fixing an addiction is to admit that you have a problem.
What about you, Joe? Who's your favorite and least favorite?
Well, I mean, favorite's Rika.
Yeah.
Like, I think
GG.
it's kind of
GG's all around, man.
Unanimous decision right there from all three parties. Rika is. I mean, it's no surprise really, right? We've talked about how much she's developed, how well she does in the second arc. She's just. It's not even a.
I mean, my least favorite.
Least favorite character.
Well, my least favorite character is nothing special. Aoi. Like I just did not like. She
You know,
just had
she's
no
so
development.
irrelevant. I didn't even think about that.
Ouch.
Exactly.
Yeah, well,
What about you,
I've
Kevin?
already said my favorite character, obviously Rika. Least favorite character, I think it's pretty apparent for me. No, I still dislike Yozora's like bullying tendencies and all that, but it's just the character who's frustrated me the most this season has to be Kodaka. Honestly,
Okay.
I'm surprised by the 180, but that's how it is really. To be completely honest.
And now we go on to best girl.
Yeah.
I want to hear your best girls first before I reveal who my best girl is.
Yeah. Well, for me, obviously, it's Sena. No surprise. Okay.
Santa for me too. I'm sorry.
Ooh, okay, then I'm gonna say
It's
mine.
okay. It's up to you.
Mine's actually
Say it.
Yozora.
What?
No, I'm only joking. It's Sena. And it's weird, right?
Wait,
It's
hang on.
weird
Are
for
you
me
fucking
to
with
say
us,
this.
or is this like a genuine?
I'm 100%
Okay.
serious. Best girl this
Welcome to the
for
house
this
of Sena.
season. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure even for all of Haganai for this season, right? Sena, because it's just I've seen the light, as you guys said, and for all the reasons mentioned, she's just best girl. Although I don't like her character design, the tits are too big.
Okay. All right.
Just
I will concede
sorry.
that. Sure.
Well, it's not even about the
I'll
tits
take
are too big. It's just that
The blue butterfly and the blonde hair just gets
The blue
me.
butterfly is a really nice touch. Gotta say.
you guys should have seen this actually, because we did. One of our logos is Sena.
No, I know what you're talking about. I've seen it.
Yep.
Yeah, you've seen it. Yeah, you've seen one of the mushrooms. So it's I didn't do a Yozora one. There's a reason for that. But obviously Sena, she's just fantastic in this season. And the only thing is the tits. It's not the fact that the tits are big. That's not the problem. The problem is just why do they move on their own? That's a bit. It's not DOA, right? Yeah. But yeah, she's just I don't want to say perfect. She has her flaws, but she's a very human character. And you know what? I want to move on to ships because this is
hang
why
on.
she's my best
Before
girl.
we do that, though, very quickly, best boy, obviously, we can't forget best boy. You guys have
Pegasus,
best boy?
my man Pegasus.
Pegasus, bro. Episode 1,
Pegasus.
him, like
Best bro.
that fucking. You know that scene though where he's like, oh yeah, Kodaka, I'm gonna rub your back. Like what?
And the way he was so aggressive with that as well. He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna protect you. I'll protect Sena." And he's like, "Hell yeah!"
The Pegasus was best boy in season 1, and he's like definitely best boy in season 2. Like hands
He should
down.
get his own spin-off anime. He's that cool, especially that moment where when he was like, "Oh, so you're not dating my daughter," and he just jumps,
Just fucking like
and you can
runs
see
off.
you can see why they call him Pegasus, because he was literally flying at one point.
Flying like
It
a
was,
Pegasus.
it was badass. I love him and the way he's designed and everything. But going into ships.
Yozora Sena.
Yozora
Yep.
Sena.
Okay.
Why? And this is where it gets interesting. You know when we were talking about the vengeance thing, I don't think it's a vengeance. I really don't.
Huh,
I think it's
okay.
she has a love, whether it's a romantic love or just a friendship kind of love for Yozora. The reason I say this is because she's very happy because of it, and I genuinely I think it's probably it started off. I think it started off as a vengeance thing, and then it became to the point where Sena is very obsessive. But I would probably say that's because she doesn't know how to interact with people or anything like that. But it's like I just feel that she wants the approval of Yozora, and she wants it so badly, right? And she has pictures, and she purchased the wig from Yozora, right? Yozora made her buy the wig. You see what she could have given it?
She was
Yeah.
She was
smelling
smelling the wig, and there was
weird,
moments
man. This
where,
is weird.
yeah, and her hand was down her pants at one point. Let's not talk about it.
We can save that for the internet and R34. Right? We don't need.
Yeah, so it's true. Like I don't want to say she has a romantic relationship, but we could delve into that. But I feel like there are good ships, but mainly because of Sena, right?
What really sold me wasn't just like their build up, like just like their like relationship and like how they just bash on each other. It was like after they watched that homo movie, like I'm just like like they've like checked out.
I agree, but another ship I have, and I really don't want to say this, but it's a bit obvious. It's Kodaka and Sena. Although,
okay,
and this is where I concede. Let me explain myself. It has nothing to do with Kodaka at all. It's more to do with Sena.
Okay.
Because I don't think Kodaka deserves Sena.
Yeah.
Because he's a bit of a dick, right? And he's not necessarily the man that I think Pegasus would want his daughter marrying. He thinks one way of him, but at the same time, I don't necessarily think... The fact that he runs away from his problems clearly shows that he's not ready for a relationship, not even a marriage, right? But there's other... he's kind of fatherly, especially to his sister and things like that. He knows how to take care of a family. That's not the point. But I mean, I just want Sena to be happy. It comes to the point where it's like, you know what, I'm making ships because I know Sena wants Kodaka and I want that to happen, right? Whether or not it happens is another issue, but...
May I retort?
Yes, you can.
I don't know if I think I mentioned in season 1 that this is one of my ships, but because of how much my opinion of Kodaka has changed in season 2, actually...
You retract it, right?
I retract it because I don't, just after seeing like his flaws, I don't think that...
You don't think
in the long run they would have a happy relationship, right? Because he's simply not as honest about what he feels and thinks, right?
Well, here's the thing. I feel like there's potential, but unless he fixes his character, then there's
Context
no hope.
of season 2, what we have seen so far in season 2, I would not make this a ship because of his flaws, right? I think communication is really important in a relationship, right?
That's
and he
true.
lacks that.
But at the same time, I want... The reason I'm making the ship is not for Kodaka, right? I really don't want him to be with Sena. But at the same time, I want Sena to be happy. I know it's a really weird way of shipping. And knowing me, I don't usually ship
last,
like that.
Though, is my problem.
Yeah, but I
want
want Sena to be happy, right? I've come from the point to be like, oh fuck Sena, to like, I want her to be happy, right? I don't want her to be just thrown in the gutter. I want her to be happy, and I want her to get all the good things, right? And if she wants Kodaka, then I'm shipping her with Kodaka. But I personally, I don't think they are a good couple because of his flaws. But still, I don't know who else to ship Sena with other than Yozora. But also, I would like to ship, and forgive me when I say this, Yukimura.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh no.
Yukimura and...
oh dear. Oh dear.
Do you know who I'm gonna say?
No, actually.
Huh?
Yukimura.
No. Yeah,
herself.
Yukimura ships himself.
Herself. Yukimura from season 1 and Yukimura from season 2. No, I was gonna ship Yukimura with
Butler Yukimura and Maid Yukimura.
with Kodaka. Yeah, you expected that, and it has nothing to do with...
You just fucking hate Yukimura in season 2, don't you?
No, okay. I don't genuinely hate, but I find that there are... It seems to be the case that he is leaning towards the Yukimura train. At least from what I've seen,
I disagree. I don't really see anything in season 2 that says.
But he
yes, he's going.
I
for
see him
Yukimura,
leaning
right?
more towards the Rika train. To be honest.
I think so because but not because of what he treats Yukimura as, but I feel that the way he treats the other characters is very different to how he treats Yukimura. Like he ignores Yozora, he ignores Sena, he ignores even at one point ignores Rika, but he doesn't ignore Yukimura. Like he's always on good terms with Yukimura, so it makes me feel that that there is something there. Do you see what I mean? There is a reason. I think
it's more like, hey, okay, this person wants to be my personal butler. Why not? I'll
maybe it's
them.
a selfish thing.
I don't think it's like, hey, this is a potential romantic interest.
But at the same time, he did kind of get flustered. You've seen it before, like especially when he's on the train. When he's on the train and the breasts
right
kind of
now,
touch
I think it's more so of a one-way relationship where it's like they're both friends, perhaps. But I think the romantic attraction is a one-way street so far.
But it can happen. This is the whole point of ships because there's potential.
Okay, potentially. All right.
And another ship would be just Rika and Rika. I know it's so dumb, but it's just Rika squared. Yeah.
That's when you've run out of ideas to ship.
Yeah, that's it with my ships. What about you guys? I really want to know about your ships, if they've changed or not.
I'll pass it on to Joe first because my ships are quite short.
I mean, my only ship is Yozora, and well, I mean, here's the thing. it was gonna
Is there a
be,
reason why you shipped those two?
With Yozora
Yeah.
and Sena? Dude,
Just because? I mean, I can't blame you. I can't blame
well,
you.
no,
Right?
no. Well, I mean, we explained it. Like it was like it works. It goes all too well together.
Well, I mean,
like it's no, there's no
Alright.
way it's a coincidence. It's like you see her like
Well-
sniffing, like you're sniffing like her like Yozora wig. You
Okay,
see her
well,
pictures all over her room. You see her.
I
Like,
will
almost
have to
masturbating
disagree
it.
with you two here, because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Sena and Yozora is one of my ships too. Personally, I don't think that I'm not seeing it like you guys are seeing it in the sense that, oh yeah, Sena totally has a thing for Yozora.
It's because your mind.
No,
is
not
superior.
really. It's just that personally, the way I saw it is that Yozora still bullies Sena a lot, right? And yes, the reason I ship them is because there are moments in season 2 where you see them like standing up for each other.
Honestly,
Right.
I think Sena just gets off to it, like on her own time.
Yeah, perhaps. But there are moments where they kind of put aside their differences, right? And they stand up for each other. And it's because of those small moments that I think that this ship might be possible. I don't think it's realistic to expect at this point in the anime, but it's...
Yeah, I mean, it's the only real thing.
I wouldn't overplay the
I thought
chances of this ship actually happening so far, based off.
Well, I mean,
what we've seen.
initially, like before I got to the finale, I thought of before I got to like the last few episodes, I thought of like Kodaka and Yozora and like Kodaka and Sena, because like they're like when you thought like beforehand, like you thought like, oh, like it was they're gonna be perfect together, but then you saw like the last couple episodes and you're like, this Kodaka.
Well, that
like,
goes
is just a
back
piece
to
of
my
shit.
point with I want to add another ship, and it's Kodaka and Yozora, because okay,
I
I'm
was
sorry.
to ship everyone,
you
Bish, because
weren't
apparently you've
Apparently,
every
Bish
single
hates
ship
fucking
possible.
everyone now because he's shipping Kodaka with fucking
Kodaka
everyone.
Kodaka with Yozora, right? Because they're both the same shit person. I'm sorry, drops mic. Yeah, they're kind of both. They have the similar traits, and they're both douchebags. Sorry.
Well, I think at this point you might hate Yozora and Kodaka more than I do because I don't really hate them. I just don't appreciate.
I
their
hate them
character
now. I'm
traits.
sorry. Sena best grill.
Wow.
I'm gonna regret
God
this.
damn.
Do you think I'm gonna wake up and be like, oh, what did you say, Bish?
No. There's
Tyson is gonna watch this and he's just gonna be laughing.
Accepting
What will
Like
Will
Bish.
think? He's like the only listener of this podcast. He's not gonna enjoy it.
he's the only one.
the only listener of this podcast? Period.
Well, he's
Just
the only
end
one
it
who
there.
still believes
Yes.
in Yozora. Maybe this episode
I
will
don't know
turn
if
him
you've
too,
seen
but
season 2. Maybe this will encourage him. I don't know.
to see the light, yeah, hopefully. But you know what? We've had so many ships so far. I think we've spent a lot of time on characters and ships and stuff. Let's move on to this more underappreciated aspect of Haganai, in my opinion. That is the audiovisual aspect of it. All right, so
As somebody who who appreciates the fine arts, I have to say, I see colors in like special ways.
Haganai has a lot of.
Believe me, you can take my word for it. I'm totally like a fine arts enthusiast. As it sounds
Joe
like in my
really
voice.
appreciates that aesthetic, tick with THICC, emphasis on the tick right there.
Damn.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about the art style.
Art style for me
I
hasn't
don't know if you
really
guys-
changed from season 1. There is some slight differences. We've seen the use of really shitty CG, but obviously that's because it's trying to be portrayed as this is Rika doing it, right, as opposed to the animation studio. We've seen
To add on to shitty, actually, I gotta say, I don't know if you guys share this point, but I was watching it on Funimation, and I think that the subtitles in Funimation were atrocious, right? No offense to them, they were atrocious because, for those of you who didn't watch it on Funimation, it was essentially white characters with no black border. The problem with this is that the way this anime is, there's so many bright colors that it's hard to see the bright white lettering.
Well, Kevin, I have to disagree there.
That's
Like,
true.
it depends on the device you're using.
that is
Okay.
true.
because I used it a lot. I use Funimation now a lot on my phone, and it used black borders.
It's an issue with the Funimation apps. Like, for example, I was using an iPhone, using the Funimation Now, and it defaulted to English dub.
I mean, I want to chalk it up to the fact that that maybe it was.
It's an older show and it's a
like
new
an older
service,
show,
and
so, like,
there's some
they-
kinks to be bumped out. But
Because there's a clear difference between them using their official subtitles and just putting
I
It's like
I
digitally
want to
putting
see how this is on
subtitles
VRV. That would be a very interesting point, because obviously they're using Funimation shows and things like that, like on Crunchyroll's new service. You know what, Crunchyroll, unplugging your services, come on. But it would be very interesting to see whether or not they change that and actually go whether they change the dubs and the subtitles and things like that. Because even I've noticed with the Funimation subtitles, when you compare it to fan subtitles and things like that, it's very different. Like the wording is different, and I find it's a bit more formal in the Funimation subtitling. That's just my opinion.
Well, I mean, like the subtitles aside, like the art style still looked great. I feel like it was a lot more refined and like sharper than season 1. You could kind of tell in a way that like it improved.
I didn't quite notice that, but
season 1, it's like a very subtle difference. Like it kind of go.
I didn't notice anything substantial in terms of the quality of the art style. It was already pretty. It wasn't pretty, substantial. Solid since season 1, right? So it's still good. For me, I just liked. It is more so the designs. Right, I really liked the new characters' designs, especially Kate. Right, even though she's, I guess, technically not a completely brand new character, she was in season 1.
But her design, her design is a bit weird because it's just Maria, older Maria. That's what it is, with a different colored habit. That's it.
Maybe Maria's design is so good. You know, it's a solid choice. Yeah, exactly. You know, as
Hinata's design was nice too. Like,
she reminded me of a Lucky Star character. She felt out of place within this animation. For me personally, in terms of her character design, yeah, she just looked like she came from this, I don't know, like this really obscure anime.
She's so cute though. Like who cares?
Okay,
she was
I'm
so
not gonna comment on that because she's just so irrelevant to me.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But yeah, the character designs, you know, new Yozora, all new Yozora was great. Obviously, you see her in more different types of clothing. Even Rika, hell yeah. Changed a lot within costumes and the fact that she wasn't wearing the lab coat anymore.
She only got better with the improvements in design, actually.
But she just got the most improvements.
In terms of animation, though.
Yeah, animation's pretty much similar.
It's not exactly, you know, Attack on Titan where you really see...
Yeah, no.
You have an opportunity to showcase animation.
Bear in mind, it's the same animation studio. They're working on the same sort of thing, and it wasn't as far off. Like, there wasn't much of a gap between the seasons. So they were probably working on the second season straight away. It's the case because even the OST, the original soundtrack, is the same as season 1, apart from the opening and the ending, which is something I do want to talk about.
The animation is more or less the same, but I think like the most important part here is the opening and the ending.
One thing that I wanted to mention...
Oh my god. Oh, and I also loved about something I loved about the opening was that it was just like it was.
That's what I liked about it, but that's the only thing I liked. Yes,
really,
yes, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it, and I'll explain why. I enjoyed the ending more than season 1's ending. That was just a top-notch ending. But it didn't have the same sort of hype. Be My Friend is a good song, right? But I mean, it's not the beginning. And you know, you had...
Yo, were we listening to the same fucking opening?
No, I'm talking about season 1's opening and how it was better to season 2. But
to be honest, season 1's opening.
No, I still, every time I think Haganai, I think of season 1's opening and how you had Yozora singing and you had Sena singing and you had the other characters singing and joining in. And
season 1's opening, I'm gonna agree with you there. It was pretty good, but for me, you saying that it didn't. Season 2's opening didn't get you hyped.
The visuals was great. Yeah, but it wasn't...
For me, I found the visuals in the second seasons great because it was like, you know, everyone was doing their own thing, right? And it was part of the movie, right? Because
no, you know what the opening of season 2 reminded me of? It reminded me of when I was going from part 1 to part 2 of the JoJo anime. And because the opening for part 1 of JoJo was great, but then you hear the opening for part 2 and you just hear all the trumpets and you're just like, whoa.
Season 1 was good, but season 2's for me, it was like the stuff of fucking legends, right? Yes, it's a cheesy rom-com intro, right? But it's so well done with the animation.
I didn't like it. I preferred, in terms of music and obviously in terms of visuals as well, season 1's opening, there was just so much. It was a powerful opening, and it was just the visuals that you had and these kind of constraints around the characters. It was a metaphorical thing, but it was really well done. I'm not saying season 2's opening was shit. Oh no, not just that, but Sister Maria.
Oh yeah.
Hell
Don't
yeah.
Remind me of that, Joe. God damn.
Hell yeah, Lollipop.
I've been trying to force that out of my mind.
But even then, it had some sort of suggestive imagery, and it was...
that's classical
It was
Haganai,
classical Haganai. I think
it was
season 1's opening really just... That's... When I think of Haganai, I think of that opening. It's just a fantastic opening.
All right, fair enough. It is a good
maybe
opening.
It's just me looking through rose-tinted glasses. I don't know. but I just honestly prefer it.
Yeah, I mean,
although the ending, I
do
prefer
agree
the
that it's
ending
good.
of season 2 compared to the ending of season 1.
Ending season 2 was great. I really love the art in the ending.
That's beautiful.
And the vocals are also really nice. I really like, again, typical Haganai, we have Sena and Yozora both singing, right? But the art complements the vocals so well. I could honestly hang that up on a wall. It's
Are you talking about that
for me,
watercolor type?
both the opening and ending. Yeah, the palette is really nice and soothing, right? Nice pale colors, right?
Rewatching the anime, but with that filter on. Would that affect how it would be?
I don't think it would fit though, because that's a very peaceful sort of tone, right? Haganai has very like slapstick comedy extreme moments, right? For like Excalibur and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think that would.
Imagine having a poster, like an Excalibur poster or a Universe poster, just painted in that style. That would be fucking badass.
It wouldn't work.
It would be
honestly.
good. Don't lie to yourself.
Wouldn't work.
It would be so beautiful. People come into your house and be like, "Oh, that's a nice poster."
Joe, what do you think of that ending? Is it as good as the opening in your opinion, or?
Because I've just generally liked the opening and the ending for our season 2. Like the ending, it felt very grand. Like it felt very like high quality. Like the vocals were amazing, and like the visual like the visuals were just great. Like I liked how like subtle it was, and how there wasn't like much movement in it.
It kind of reminded me of the ending for Another in a weird way.
I honestly forgot Another's ending, to be honest.
No, the other ending is basically like
Yeah,
like
it
the
kind of
character
reminded me of
slowly
that.
appearing.
It's a weird comparison, right? But
For me, it wasn't a noteworthy ending.
I mean, it was more of just like how like you saw like their hair moving, you saw like the ribbons moving and like the strings moving.
although, funny thing, when I first saw it, I thought they were tampons. I don't know why. It was just like, and then I realized it was you know the cup phone thing, and then I realized what it was. But I mean, like, initially when I saw it, I was like, what is that? It just popped into my mind.
I know, but
Sorry.
why?
That's what I thought it was. One thing. What's the last sort of things that we're talking about? We're going to talk about the ending, right? But I think we've already done it.
I think we've all talked about the opening and ending. It's good now. In terms of the rest of the audio, though, I think we're in agreement that there's nothing notable to talk about, right? Yeah.
What?
It's the same.
What's
It's the same as season 1.
For me, it's the same as the first seasons. I mean, it's nice.
literally the same. It's not just the same. It's literally the same audio.
Well, I mean, I thought I don't remember what I said like for during the season 1 recording, but like I liked like the I liked the.
Like, do you think it's
Haganai
good or do
OST
you think
in
it's
general.
amazing?
Like, it's just
is my question. Because I mean, I think it's good, but I wouldn't.
wait. Well, now I'm breathing. Let's keep taking deep breaths. I liked it.
Oh yeah,
It's
I definitely
great.
liked it.
Like it was very special.
One thing-
It was nice. It fit the mood well. It did its job.
But one thing that I would say that I would have on my phone is Kodaka's ringtone. You got mail. I want that ringtone. I can't find it anywhere. So
I want the really crappy "You've Got Mail" voice. Like you've got mail.
We've had a long discussion. This episode is, I don't know how it will be after editing, but it's one of the longest we've had so far. But overall, we kind of touched every single aspect there is to touch on season 2 of Haganai. Let's wrap it up. So overall, okay, in what aspects do you think season 2 has improved over season 1, or do you think season 2 has perhaps gone worse? Just comparing both of them, now that we've seen both seasons.
Personally,
Which one
season 2.
would you prefer?
Season 2 is just all the way. A lot more character development. Season 1 was necessary to kind of introduce the neighbors club together and things like that. But season 2 is where it's at. Season 2 is just where most of the character development is. You learn more about the characters, and I don't know. The tone changes, as I mentioned before. It becomes more of a drama and a romance.
On that note, do you think the tone changes? Do you prefer like season 1 being not being burdened by this drama and just being a carefree show?
But I think it's necessary, right? Because you can't jump into
Well, I mean,
you can't jump into this kind of into this drama straight away, or you lose a lot of people, right? Because not everyone is interested in that. But once you start off and ease people in with the comedy, with the slight romance, and kind of ease it into season 2 and make it into a romantic drama, I think that's when it kind of strengthens in season 2. And obviously, I'm a big fan of romantic dramas, so I enjoy season 2 a lot more than season 1, and I think it is a better season, although the ending did kind of spoil it for me. Initially, when I saw that ending, I was assuming that there was going to be a season 3, and I thought, okay, that it's forgiven,
doesn't look like it's gonna
It
happen,
doesn't look
unfortunately,
like,
but
considering the
we'll
ending.
see.
But I was assuming that there was going to be a season 3, so I thought, okay, at least we would get more answers in a season 3. I was hoping that those loose ends would be.
Despite that, I'll save that for later, really. But Joe, what do you think? Season 1 versus season 2? What's your pick?
Well, I mean, I agree with Bish in that season 1 like was kind of like the setup. You know what I mean? Like it didn't have like the time or like the room to like introduce drama into it. Like season 2 was like the right place to do that. With that said, like season 2, I really like season 2 like more than season 1. It just like again, a lot more character development, just a lot more fun. I will say I'm disappointed that they spend more time in the room in season 2 than they do like outside. Like in season 1, like they went out to the festival, they went out to do karaoke, like stuff like that. They went out to the pool.
So more variety in season 1.
Yeah, there's more variety, but like in season 2 they were in the room a lot, which felt weird to me. Like I didn't really notice it until like I saw somebody like mention it in a review.
Do you think that they did that because there wasn't much story and character development, or do you think that, like you said, do you think they did that because it's like a slice of life type thing?
I have a theory on that, actually. Okay, I think that the reason why there might be less, or there's supposedly less variety in the locations is that, well, justly in season 2 they were trying to develop the characters more, right? And you can develop the characters more in side arcs, right, where they go outside and all that. But for drama to happen, right, for tension and progression to happen in the plot, I think that it's easier to do that if they're all in the same room, right? And you show tension in the daily routine that they're so used to having, right? It's harder perhaps to show that in a side arc where they go off and do something different, right? That's my theory. Personally, I agree with you. I think that season 2 definitely is better, simply because the comedy has gone better, right? I think we can all agree on that point. The comedy has gone better, right?
Well, it's like now that they've introduced everything in season 1, they can spend a lot of time in season 2.
They can improve on the established drama that they had in season 1.
Yeah.
My gripe, obviously, like you guys, is with the drama. I mean, I'm confused and kind of conflicted on that part because you can't have the same status quo that you had in season 1, where obviously you can't just have a slice of life and have that same dynamic continue indefinitely, right? You need to have a sense of progression when you're writing a story. Right, so that drama is ultimately necessary to and yes, I'm frustrated with Kodaka's personality and stuff, right? But perhaps it was a necessary evil, right? Perhaps it was the author's vision, and there was no other way around it, right? Despite that, I find that the first part of the season was very much enjoyable. The second part too, to a lesser extent. But for me, definitely the highlight was what they did so well in season 1 that was improved in season 2, and that is the comedy and the character development.
One thing that I do want to mention, and this is something that we did mention in Free, would we want to see a third season? And Kevin, and I'm going to say this to you, let's assume that the ending didn't happen, right? Yeah. Would we want to see a third season? Because personally, assuming none of this happened, right, I actually really want to know what happens to Yozora. Where does she go? What is this new journey that she goes on? And where is Sena and Kodaka? What's that relationship going on? Are they going to continue to be engaged? There's so many loose ends.
Yeah, it really does feel like they were planning a third season when they were making second season, right? Because they left such an open ending, and for that reason, I would, if by magic you could retcon the canon ending of the light novels.
And it is another AIC anime, Oremo. Oremo's ending for season 2 is not the canon ending, and I only found that out 2 days ago. They changed it. Yeah,
holy shit! Wow.
They changed it because the actual light novel fucked up the ending to way more extremes, so they had to tone it down. So there is hope, maybe.
I mean, in this dream world, perhaps, but I really don't think a third season is happening. Would I want to see one? Definitely, if we could, ignore the light novel, just because, it's not even, Sena and Kodaka that I want to see more of. It's more so Kodaka and Yozora, right? I don't believe that these are bad, characters are bad people at heart. I want to see them progress, see them change, and overcome these flaws, right? Because yes, they've done things that have lowered my opinions of them, but I want to see them redeem themselves, right? It's totally possible. I want to see that, right? And it's just a tease at the end, right? Seeing Yozora leave, it's such a change that I would feel really, unsatisfied if they just left it at that.
We can get 2 more seasons of anime from currently what's in the light novel.
But if they did do what the light novels did, I would not want a 3rd season.
Here's the thing, like, a 3rd season would be interesting, like, to see, like, what would happen to Yozora and everyone. Honestly, like, I don't think I'd want, like, a fleshed out season. Like, I'd want at least, like, something similar to, like, a movie.
Yeah, that's a very
actually
interesting
really
point,
good.
because we did the same thing about Free. We said we didn't want to see a 3rd season, but an OVA or a film would be great.
Didn't we say that for Plumemo as well?
Yeah, we did.
Because a season 3, like, would be very long.
Yeah,
like, movies, like,
that would make sense, because a lot of anime's done that before.
If they could make a movie about, like, them going after Yozora and them reconnecting as a group and putting all this drama behind them,
yes, that's exactly what I had in mind. And,
I would totally watch that.
Talk stuff out.
In that way, they're not totally retconning the light novel, but they have the liberty to reach a satisfying conclusion, right? That the 2nd season unfortunately does not provide.
Bear in mind, the 2nd season was done as the endings were being written, so they didn't know what the endings were going to be. So it's probably, as you said, they probably had that in mind, that they were going to go in for a 3rd season. And then they were kind of cock-blocked, which is unfortunate, right? Because Haganai is just a great series, and I do want to see it continue.
I want to see it
in a satisfying way, right? Yeah,
in
exactly.
the right way. And I know that's kind of a dick thing to say, but, like, who are you to say that the author
No,
didn't
but
do it the
it's
right
true,
way,
because it's kind of like other shows, like Nisekoi, for example. Like, for example, you would want the ending, especially with harems, you don't want them to pick a particular person, right? You have to have it, leave the ending open.
Or I don't even mind that. It's just that there needs, for me to be satisfied with an ending in a rom-com, there needs to be
closure, no?
The author has to convince me to be like, okay, that could actually happen based off the psychology that, we've seen these characters and I've seen them develop despite their flaws and overcome these challenges, right? I don't think that Haganai Season 2 at the ending has established that yet. And it's clear in their intentions that they're supposed to be a final piece to the puzzle, right? So, yeah. But overall, I like to thank you guys for being part of this discussion. Honestly, it's a dream for me. Like, since, I'll be honest, I think I told Bish early on when we started Kunai that, Haganai Season 2, it's happening without a doubt. It's one of the shows I've been looking forward to covering for quite some time, and I hope that those of you who are listening in have enjoyed the show as much as we do.
Brings a tear to my eye.
But don't get too sad that this episode is ending, because I believe that Joe has something to get you guys hyped up about. Joe, do you mind giving them a sneak peek at what is to come?
Kaiji-kun. Next episode is Kaiji Ultimate Survivor.
I'm really excited for that.
I've heard lots of good things, and let's keep this fucking hype train going, alright?
I just want to remind you guys, if you want to kind of join in, you guys got that chance. You got that chance to sign up for your 14-day free trial. Watch it on Crunchyroll, guys. You can watch it there, man.
Seriously, Crunchyroll is just amazing. Like, I'm not even saying that as part of, like, a sponsorship or anything. Like, I've used Crunchyroll a lot. I use it for, like I said in the past, I use it for JoJo. I use it for, like, a lot of, like, other shows that, like, I may be interested in. And, like, now the summer started, like, now that college is done, I have more time to kind of, like, focus on shows I want to watch and just, like, watch everything. Like summer's a better time than ever.
That you can start that 14-day trial. You can watch Season 1 and Season 2 of Kaiji Ultimate Survivor. They got it on there. They got both seasons. You'll find it there, and it's the best thing about it. It's free, and you can catch up with us and see what shows that we're watching by signing up. You don't even need to pay money. That's the best thing about it. It's free, and if you want to continue on with if you like the 14-day trial and you really want to continue, it's like £5 a month afterwards, or I don't know how much it is in dollars.
Yes, it's $6.95 a month,
and £4.99. That's less than a $5. You know how much do you spend on your lunch every day? I probably spend like £10 on my lunch every day when you're going to Burger King or going to Subway, right? For $4.99, that's half of one lunch in a day. You can be watching ad-free anime. That's crazy.
And best of all, you're also supporting the industry, right? So
And like while we're on top of Crunchyroll, like some time ago, like there was like a whole collaboration. Like they started a collaboration with Funimation, and like this is just personally, I recommend Funimation. Like Funimation now, like just paying for it. I believe it's 15 a month.
One last point is the interesting thing with the whole Funimation deal, if not many people know, is that there is a lot of Funimation anime that is making its way to Crunchyroll. So it's the amount of shows on Crunchyroll is just constantly expanding. Like one of them is, I believe they got Assassination Classroom on there, which was a show that we were supposed to cover, but we didn't. They got a bunch of other shows on there. So like I said, go check out Crunchyroll, crunchyroll.com/kunai. You can also check out our other sponsor, Loot Anime. If you go to lootcrate.com/kunai and use the code kunai at checkout for 10% off new subscription. Hell yeah, that's badass. I think the better thing to do really is if you're in America, just sign up for VRV, because you save money if you want to get Funimation and Crunchyroll and a bunch of other stuff.
But other than that, if you guys want to share your thoughts on anything we've discussed in this episode about Haganai Season 1, Season 2, if you want to, share your shock at Bish finally seeing the light after 5 years.
Crazy.
Then, hit us up on our Twitter or on email. Our email is galp.pea@gmail.com.
Or you can send us an email through our website, getlifepodcast.com/contact. Would be an easier way.
Yeah, we also have Twitter accounts, right? So my Twitter account is at Told right now. It's changed, so that's at TOLVRAIE.
Mine is Kibo Gamer at KIBOUGAMER. And if you don't see me that active, I'm either like playing a shit ton of games, probably playing a lot of Final Fantasy 14 now that Stormblood's released, or I'm trying to lock myself in my room so I can contain all my hype for Danganronpa V3.
I'm at Get Life Podcast on Twitter. We also have a Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Get Life Podcast. If you want to use Facebook, I don't know if many people do, but the option's there. Alternatively, you can talk to us directly on our Kunai Twitter page, which is at GALP Kunai. And yeah, give us your suggestions that way if you prefer it. And I think that's the end of the episode.
Oh yeah.
Great job, guys. I really enjoyed it.
It's been a long discussion. I hope that you guys enjoyed listening to it as much as we've enjoyed shitting on Yozora this episode. But
hell yeah.
Thank you for listening, guys. And we'll
Alright,
see you next time.
Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
Stay sexy.
Oh my god. Are we bringing that back now?